Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SimPlay Motorsport here for week 2 of the championship. It is Red Bull Ring here for today's races, and we are back in Austria. It's nice to be back in Austria. It's been a while. I was looking on the past streams to get the most successful drivers for this circuit. Haven't run this track since season 5 of Project Cars 2. So a while ago, and a lot happened that day. In what was 2 fantastic races between the pros and the pro-ams, but we are here back for the first time on ACC. It only got added earlier this year, let's not forget, did the Red Bull Ring to this game. So it is brand new to this game, a couple of months old. It's going to be an interesting race to see what happens throughout today's broadcast. I'm your host, Mathew Duffin, joined in the box by Dan Davis once again. Dan, good evening to yourself. Great to be back at the ring.
Good evening, Matt. Good evening, everybody. And yes, it's very exciting to be back at the Red Bull Ring once again. And yeah, it's an exciting night towards us. As like I said, it's been a long time since we've run it, since the Project Cars days. But it's nice to have the Red Bull Ring back. And what a challenge we have ahead of us tonight. A lot of it is to do with track limits and how many drivers will push the limits tonight. That is the question. But nonetheless, I'm looking forward to it, and Red Bull Ring has always been an entertaining race, and not being so lucky for myself, but I know, Matt, that it produces some fantastic races nonetheless.
It's produced some great races and some great fights over the courses of the championships back on the Project Cars 2 days, but we're here for the first time on ACC. Currently have 22 out of the 23 drivers who are scheduled to be here. Now, I do believe the Jackal will miss race 1 and will be here for race 2. That is why we have 22 at the minute. But we have a returning face back into the league. I say a returning face. He's in Pro-Am now. He's running what looks to be the same colours as it is in his Endurance Championship for the Rustys Racing Team. That is Monkey Boy. And Dan, he's going in that Ford Mustang. Bit of a challenge for him. Obviously, we saw that with work and things last year, he wasn't able to attend the full Pro Series. He's took that step down to Pro-Am. And this is going to be an interesting little insight for him this season.
Yeah, it is indeed. It's going to be something interesting for him, and especially for for this season. Testing the Ford Mustang is not an easy car to learn at first, but he's not in the championship fight. He's not really going to be really putting too much threat on the overall standings, but it's a good challenge for him, and nonetheless it'll be exciting to see what he can do in the Mustang. I mean, why not give it a go? Brand new car and just have a play.
Exactly, brand new car and just have a play. So it's going to be interesting to see what he can do. But we have got many a returning face tonight, and obviously, Dan, the big one, I suppose, really is it is the first week of reverse grids. Also, the first week of the drop scores.
It is indeed, and it's going to be interesting to see how the guys who did well last week, so the likes of Max Mulder and Dizzle, are going to be able to work their way through the pack in the short sprint race that we have. It's the idea of it is to allow the guys who are unlikely to win races on pure pace to have that chance, but it also shows how great a drivers the guys at the back of the pack are, and they make their way forward. There's all sorts of drama, but from what we can see from the weather, it's looking just a little bit cloudy here, and I think we're meant to just have cloud for most of the session, but the pros, on the other hand, they might be having a bit of sprinkled rain coming their way, but looks pretty settled here at the ring.
It does look pretty settled at the moment, and you're right, forecast's not looking great for tomorrow's race. It does look like there is rain around in the end. It looks like these Pro-Am drivers have just missed that of the rain in today's race. The rain forecast to come later in the day, in early hours of the morning, running through at least until midday tomorrow, is the forecast in Austria. And don't forget the Pro Boys weather is locked in as from now, so that is what the weather will be, a sprinkling in the air. But as is with ACC, you just never know when that sprinkling is going to come. 22 drivers currently out there on the circuit at the moment, and this is going to be one of 2 races today, like Dan said, the short 20-minute sprint race and then the feature race of an hour long. And the fact of guys going from the back of the grid, it is going to be an interesting one to see what the likes of Dizzle and Max Mulder can do throughout this race. Not a lot of cars out on circuit, still with 2 minutes to go. Plenty of drivers in the pits. We've just seen Cranky Duckhead go a little wide. We've also got John Andrews out there on the track, and currently the pace setter, Richie Michelle, who is topping the timing screens at the moment. That is an impressive lap time.
That is a very impressive lap time. Man's been putting in some time and practice. I have noticed, though, one of the rules stating this season is drivers will have to stay in the same coloured livery unless it's for a special event. Has to be mentioned to the admins, and both of the Richie Corsa drivers have changed their liveries, so that might have to be looked into. But either way, he is running the green here at the Red Bull Ring. Which makes it a little bit more difficult to obviously spot, because when you get the idea is so the commentators can get used to the drivers, deliveries, and you the fans themselves, you know, you have your distinctive drivers, you know who's who, and we can go from there. But nonetheless, it's definitely good pace from this man at the minute. He's been setting the pace in all the practice sessions that, you know, he's been quicker than most of the pro boys as well. So he's really showing what he can do in this Ferrari at the Red Bull Ring. Yeah,
looking to maybe prove that the Ferrari could be a good car out there. Monkey Boy has now got the Ford Mustang on track, and we saw a couple of Ford Mustangs last time out. NRT F. Gomez makes his debut tonight. He's also in the Ford Mustang. We saw Kieran Argent last week and a few of the pro drivers have a bit of a good showing in the Ford Mustang, so it's going to be interesting to see what it does here. Seems to have good straight line speed. That is going to be the key around the ring tonight. It's going to be traction out of the corners, and that top speed down the straights could do this Mustang some really good, or get some really good points in this race. Has Monkey Boy tamed the Mustang, though? That is the biggest question. With 11 seconds left in practice, he might just get a lap time in. I don't think he's going to from there now. He looks like he's a little bit too far back. I think he crossed the line. He did get a timing. So there we go. He will get one timing on the board.
Oh, no, he didn't.
Oh, did he not? There we go. So Michelle Ritchie is done. So the only man who is on a flying lap time now is John Andrews, currently in this session then, to get a lap time on the board. Speaking of then going through the old streams this morning and finding out who's the most successful driver, there is four drivers who are the most successful around here. Disco with Disco Face has 2 pole positions and 1 win. Andy has 2 pole positions and 1 win. Gary Leach has 2 pole positions and 1 win. Big Boy Brazier has 1 pole position and 2 wins. Ben Parkey also, so that's 5 drivers, 2 pole positions, 1 win. Other honourable drivers who have got a pole or a win at this circuit: Deeks and Argent with a pole, Mazda a pole and a win. Maze Game has taken 2 wins. Joseph Bates, aka Fury, he's had a win to his name. Ukbar with 1 pole position, and myself with 1 win. Mr. Grand Slam and Silverstone winner from the weekend. Your name's not on that list.
Not a British circuit, is it?
No, exactly. And if you're wondering what I mean by Mr. Silverstone winner at the weekend, myself and Dan took a trip to the British Touring Car Championship to Thruxton, and it was fantastic, great action, really good circuit. And our boy Dan Davis beat off the audience and beat off the crowd to win himself £100 to spend in merchandise at a stall at one of the touring car places with a fastest lap time, a hot stint time basically, at Silverstone. And well done, Dan Davis. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, mate. It's you know, I worked hard for this. All these who says sim racing doesn't pay, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All those laps around Silverstone. I just would like to thank my dad, my mum, and also my fantastic sponsors as well. My local Cornish pasties. You know, all the above. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be in this opportunity. But obviously, I got a short mention of SimPlay Motorsport as well. I guess they helped me out along the way. But no, it was great. It was good fun, and yourself and Fury also had a go as well.
Yeah,
and, yeah. I'm enjoying my Porsche hoodie right now. That I'm kind of just
Porsche hoodie and a Lewis Hamilton Mercedes to go on the shelf. Now, one thing to put into context, viewers from home.
He's like me.
What we was doing is Dan nearly won £200. He nearly won the event on the Saturday. Got beaten by a driver. Me and Kelly were stood behind Dan. Literally, Dan, you need 8 tenths. You need 2 tenths, Dan. You've beat him. Well done. And then at 5 to 5 minutes before the time ran out on the Saturday, I walked past the stall going to the infield, and the same guy who Dan had just beat Dan, but luckily enough he couldn't manage it on the Sunday. So well done, Daniel.
I don't think he turned up for the Sunday. Either way.
Yeah,
Enough about me. Enough about me.
It's all about
the
Pro-Am
boys. Yeah, it is, and obviously with regarding the championship standings and the way it is, we have gone into a reverse grid order due to that. And obviously, as you can see, the guys haven't been doing a qualifying session. We've dumped the qualifying session for race 1. We're now going into straight the race. And you can see it's looking like, again, this cloud is just lingering around. It's just going to be staying here, and we will be going in reverse grid of the championship. Obviously, the guys who haven't started the championship will be at the front of the grid. And I'll allow Matt to run through the order.
The grid order then is NRT F. Gomez, your current pole sitter on his debut tonight. He's racing in the Ford Mustang. It's a Mustang lockout as it's Monkey Boy then behind him. Robert Smith is then in P3 from Dean Wysocki, who is then in P4. John Andrews lines up in P5 to make it a trio of BMWs. Dean is P6 with Mirko Ricci P7. DJ Phil Green is P8 with Diego Flores in 9th place. John Gooday lines up P10 with Darren Bell lining up P11. Sam is in P12 with the cranky duckhead P13. Richie Michelle down in 14th place, but setting the timing screens alight. Can he come through the pack? Brian Craig 15th with Paul Williams running 16th. Fat Bloke in 17th from Justin Winter. S2M Borough Bex down in 19th place from Max Mulder, race winner last time out, and then Dizzle. And, well, we have to apologise to Micro J's, but it has put him into 22nd place. Unsure why. So we do apologise to Micro J's for that one. It has put him to the back of the pack. I am just double checking the files to make sure that Micro J should have been lining up in that P11 spot. And yeah, sorry, P13 spot. He is down as P13, so that is a little glitch that has happened there, which has dropped him to the back of the pack. So we do apologise to Micro J's for that one. I don't think Jay is going to be overly bothered at the fact he's starting from the back of the pack. He may miss a bit of the corners instead of being mid-pack. The championship order, though, is like this, and this is why it is the reverse grid. It is Dizzle who leads the way from Max Mulder. S2M Borobex is P3, 11 points behind. Just to say that Dizzle and Max Mulder are tied on points. That is how close they are. Then it is Justin Winter. Tim Ventink is P5 from Fat Bloke with P. Williams in 7th place. B. Craig from Richie Michelle. Cranky Duckhead. Micro J. Sam. D. Bell, M. Tucker, John Gooday, Kieran Argent, D. Flores, DJ Phil, Mirko Ricci, Dean, John Andrews, R. Smith, Graham, P. Raiden, the Jackal Nukewaste, Oliver Andrew Taylor, and Naval RTF Gomez. And Dan, they're coming up to the penultimate corner. The constructors looks like this. BSP Racing leads from stage 2 with Greasy Bandit in 3rd. Team FBR 4th, Team Merlot 5th. Richie Corsa 6th place for FSO Junior Racing Team in 7th. Vorta Racing Independent 8th. Greasy Bandit Racing Juniors in 9th. They are also an independent team. We, though, Dan, are about to go racing for the first time here at the Red Bull Ring. A cloudy, cloudy day here in the Styrian Mountains. But who will come out on top in this first race? It is going to be an absolute belter. Hang on to your hats. It is going to be fantastic. It is the Mustangs who will lead us off in this fantastic race. And it is Monkey Boy who's managed to just get slightly in front as we are for the first race. Green and go here at the Red Bull Ring in Austria, and it is a great start from Monkey Boy as the two Mustangs really prancing down the start straight. Dean Wysocki's going to look up the inside of a BMW into turn 1. Can't get it done. That is Mirko Ricci who's gone very, very wide. And I believe now it is Gomez who comes out on top over Monkey Boy, who is battling now with Robert Smith. He tumbles down into 3rd place as Robert Smith moves up into 4th. Dean Wysocki's managed to come ahead out there in 5th place at the moment as the timing screens will all update themselves. A few battles going on in the background, and I believe that is Max Mulder who is having a little fight with that of Justin Winter, who was side by side. He didn't get past the Porsche, but Dan looks to be at the moment relatively cleanly through turn 1. DJ Phil though did not, oh no, he's not, he's had a big problem.
He went down the inside of turn 1 and just got collected by the pack coming around the outside. He basically was trying to stay out of the way, but got caught up in all sorts of trouble and is now dropped to the back with major damage to the front. But yeah, it's all been a bit chaotic in the mid pack, but everyone managed to negotiate it.
Oh, Monkey Boy's around! Apologies, Dan. Monkey Boy is around, and he's stationary. Dean Wysocki is now off into the gravel, coming through the middle sector. So I'm not sure what has happened, but there are cars everywhere at the moment, and that is now Mirko Ricci who's moved himself up into P3, and John Andrews still ahead of Dean. Richie Michelle up into 6th place. A little bit of damage on the front of his car, but he's got away well.
He has indeed, but it's all about the Mustang and the BMWs leading the way. Front engine cars pulling away. They've got a big gap of 3.8 seconds down to M. Rochelle, but they cross the line now and it's 4.3. They're extending the gap while the gap is too busy fighting. And Max Mulder has had a stormer. He's up to P8 already and he's looking to go and attack for P7. He's down the inside of Dean, pushes him wide, but here comes Darren Bell up the inside as well, and he manages to get the pair of them as they're all going three wide down the main straight.
Yeah, this is interesting. And now Justin Winter is going to have a look into this as Bell and Max Mulder just bounce off each other a little bit. Now Justin Winter's looking up the inside of Max Mulder. He gets the move done. John Gooday's not had a great exit out of turn 2. And this mid-pack bunch already really hustling for positions. And it is so congested there. That was Dean and Justin Winter bouncing off each other. Max Mulder's looking up the inside of Winter. Winter's going to squeeze him to the inside. Max manages to get on the brakes early and tuck back in behind. But already a chaotic start in this midfield. And now there's a flash of the lights from Bell there as Mulder gets through, as does Winter on Bell and Dean.
Yeah, it's all a bit chaotic at the minute. We're staying on board with this group, and Dean's dropping back behind his former teammate and dropping right into the back. It's turned into what was a four-way fight into now like a 10 or 11-way fight as Fat Bloke's just on the edge of this fight on the front pack. But Max Mulder getting his elbows out, and the aggressive driver that he is has pulled away. Meanwhile, the top two are long gone into the distance.
They are long gone into the distance, and just behind this, P. Williams collects Dizzle, and Dizzle caught up in a moment once again, coming down towards the penultimate corner. They was 4 abreast with Diego Flores and I believe Cranky Duckhead, and that has put to bed that one. DJ Phil is in the pit lane with that damage, and yeah, where did the guys come out? Dean Wasocki moves ahead of P. Williams now, as does Monkey Boy. John Andrews dropped it from P5. He's got to be cautious on the rejoin.
He has indeed. Meanwhile, the top two are swapping places all the time, but they're being smart about it. They're not holding each other up. They'll slipstream one another, let the other car through, and as they're doing this, they're pulling a gap of 4.5 seconds ahead of the two Richie Corsa teammates who are trying to catch the leaders, but they're just not making any headway. John Goudet's finally cleared the gap behind him, and he's got his teammate behind him now as they all start to spread out a little bit, and a few guys have dropped to the back, but nonetheless, DJ Phil's in the pits and gets his stop done as Dizzle and Paul Williams are right at the back of the pack.
They are right at the back of the pack, so they've dropped right behind Monkey Boy and Dean Wasocki, who was the other two cars who was off earlier. Micro J's has gone from 15th from the back of the pack at the moment, but like you say, the two leaders currently exchanging exchanging places very cleverly here. Michelle Ritchie is now on the back of his teammate Mirko Ritchie then. This is for 3rd and 4th. Will the Ritchie boys do the swap and let them pass? Remember, pit entry is an interesting one here. You have to be on the inside of the white line before entering the pits. That is what Mike Matthews, the admin member, posted yesterday, or Monday should I say, to get right. Mirko Ritchie pulls to the inside of the start straight, and I think this is the team tactics. Let Michelle go, and he obliges. Michelle moves up into 3rd place.
Yeah, but he hasn't made it any easier for himself. He ran wide and basically just slowed the pair of them down, and once again that gap has extended for the top two. They're just pulling away, they're just drafting one another as the Mustang runs a little wide, and the BMW driver Robert Smith looks to the inside but can't find a way past on F Gaines at the minute. But it's all push and shove at the front, but no one's really catching them. They're kind of just left everyone else to dead. Meanwhile, Max Mulder's looking to make a move on Justin Winter at the minute, but can't seem to find a way through, as a lot of cars have just dropped off the pace ever so slightly. 3
drivers into the pits. John Andrews, B. Craig and Dizzle. DJ Phil must have pitted before the pit window opens. Oh, and in the background, Diego Flores hits the back of the water racing car of Darren Bell, and Bell has just bounced off the barrier back into the path as he was spinning round of Diego Flores. That is catastrophe for them two drivers. That is going to be huge damage. DJ Phil's got to pit again. Dizzle is now away as he comes back into the pits, but that is more drivers and more dramas already here. Darren Bell has returned to pit lane.
He has indeed. He's not had the opening lap that he probably would have wanted, but welcome to reverse grids. This is what happens. You've got to pick your fights, you've got to keep it clean and stay out the way, but he's just been in trouble in all sorts of places. Probably not his fault, but it's just, you know, it's the reverse grids. You really got to pick your fights. Maybe pit early, get out of the traffic, whatever strategy is available, use it, as Goudet has now come into the pits.
John Goudet into the pits then. So he is in from P5 on the grid at the moment. Max Mulder now going to chase down after Michelle Ritchie. Fat Bloke is trying to hunt down him. Fat Bloke having a great drive in his BMW. Cranky Duckhead on the back of Dean with
Mercedes.
Sam. Sorry, in his Mercedes, apologies. Sam trying to hunt down on the back of Cranky Duckhead, who's trying to hunt down after Dean as well. Paul Williams on the back of Diego Flores. P. Williams and Flores will both have damage on their cars. Micro J's and Monkey Boy also pit this lap. And DJ Phil can now get back out on the circuit. This is Brian Craig trying to come up past John Andrews. This is out of turn 3, heading towards turn 4. And Brian Craig had that disconnection last week, if you remember, which demoted, I think he was running P3 at the time, so down in 20th at the moment. Not the start to this race he would have wanted. But they are going past Darren Bell as he returned to the garage. All the drivers now starting to go past him.
Yeah, indeed they are, and he's just going to probably have to throw away this sprint race, and he will have to try and complete the race if he possibly can. But if he doesn't, he will be looked at not completing to 75% race distance, so he will have to get back out there. But the top two have been fantastic. I've been keeping an eye on their race, and they've been very clean with one another and just slowly pulling away. Now Ritchie is starting to put the time in. He's gone fastest now with the purple lap. But it's one thing catching, it's another to overtake, as the famous Murray Walker once said.
He did indeed. Max Mulder and Sam come into the pit lane, as does Borough Bex, as does Dean Wysocki. Diego Flores and P. Williams will stay out there on track. That is a spinner at the final corner. That is the 333 of Brian Craig, who has dropped the car then at the final turn. He gets it back going, but like you say, one thing to catch, another to pass. So a couple more drivers into the pits this lap. And Richie Michelle will now have 4.6 seconds to close down each sector. Dean has been passed by the Cranky Duckhead, so the Honda moving up into P6 at the moment. Drivers looking for undercuts or overcuts in this race to see what they can do. It's going to be an interesting one. Max Mulder is now away. Who was the next car? And I believe it was Sam in after him. So Sam, Borough Bex and Dean Wysocki all with a 25-second stop to make. Let's not forget, you have to complete that 25-second pit stop. The leaders, though, still within 0.2 of a second. They put a lap on Monkey Boy, and this is Robert Smith coming into the pits. You saw him there, tuck into the inside of the corner before that white line started. That is vital for this week's racing. Otherwise, it will be a pit entry cut. And the stewards will look into that one as Robert Smith pits from second place.
Fat Bloke's now coming into the pits as well, so Fat Bloke choosing to pit. Max Mulder and Sam have managed to jump most of the pack, and here comes John Goudet attacking his fellow Aston Martin driver of Sam. Sam goes very deep into the hairpin, runs it wide, Nico Rosberg style, but keeps his front wing, and he'll get himself back on track. But John Goudet and Dizzle clearing him now, and it's Max Mulder who's the leading pitter. This is going to be interesting to see where Robert Smith comes in on this, because Max has had some time to himself and came into the pits early to get his pit stop done. Can he use that pace now to try and bring that gap down to the leaders? Because Max Mulder is the threat now.
And the lead car of Gomez is on the back, or gaining on the back of that of S2M Borough Bex, who's down in 14th place. 3 cars in the pits. Robert Smith is now away. Fat Bloke, then Dean are in the pit lane. Darren Bell is back out on the track. He's going to have to come back round and pit, though, because he returned to the garages, let's not forget. But for Gomez, he's catching a lot of traffic. Will he now react to these guys' pit stop that happened earlier in this race? Just looking down the path, though, John Goudet in the thick of a fight with Dizzle and Sam trying to stick with them. Apart from that, nobody really close to each other on a flyer. Just seeing Gomez come through the background.
Pit lane.
So Fat Bloke exits the pit lane now, and Gomez stays out on the track.
Fat Bloke exits, and Max Mulder has jumped him, but Max has got nowhere near Robert Smith with that early pit stop. The problem that NRT F Games has now is the fact that he's trying to clear traffic. Ritchie has realised this and has come into the pits as Darren Bell comes in to serve his pit stop. And I'm fair play to Darren Bell. I'm going to give him some respect, even though he's had a pretty dismal start to this race. He's got back out there, he's gone in and he's done his pit stop, and he's going back out again. So it takes a lot of respect to get that. And as Richie Mitchell comes into pits, he jumps his spot and just has to reverse back ever so slightly. That's going to cost him time. But Robert Smith leading pitter, and it's now down to NRT to decide when he wants to pit. It's going to be an interesting one.
It is going to be an interesting one. On the top, the other 5 drivers do pit. NRTF Gomez is the only driver to stay out there on the circuit now. But it is Robert Smith who leads this race. Gomez still yet to pit. And you can see Richie Michel hasn't gone green yet. Gomez coming out the final corner. And this could be huge. But John Gooday has lost out to Dizzle and to Sam, with Borough Bex not a million miles behind. Dean come out of the pits ahead of Micro J's. So Jay's now got to catch him down. But Jay actually had a moment because he's actually fell into the path. Oh, speeding in the penalty for D Bell. And a stop-go penalty for car 93. So Richie Mitchell may have the pace, but has now got a stop-go penalty. That is going to ruin his time here.
Oh, I know that pain. I know that pain, Suzuka, all that time ago. It's just absolutely horrendous. You've got the race pace, you can catch cars, and you just push a little bit too hard in the pit lane. And now he's under some immense pressure from Max Mulder, who's looking down the inside. And Max now knows that he's got a penalty. He doesn't need to push as hard. He wants to try and score as many points to Dizzle as he possibly can. Well, Dizzle currently sat in 7th place at the minute, but he'll go up to 6th once Richie has lost his penalty.
Now Gomez is in the pit lane and Robert Smith comes into turn 4 for the first the 8th time. Max has run a little wide. We'll keep our eyes on that of Robert Smith. Max a little wide then. He doesn't have to fight Michel too hard. John Gooday was close to the back of Sam. He's now actually got past Sam and is back up into P8. Dean Wysocki was close to that at the back of Micro J's. They've also got Paul Williams with them in this fight, and the Cranky Duckhead just in front to a good little quartet of cars for 13th, 14th, and 15th and 16th place, with Monkey Boy not a million miles away. And this is P. Williams, who looks like he's putting Dean Wysocki under a bit of pressure.
Robert
Williams
Smith
with a bit of damage. Sorry, Dan.
Robert Smith heading up to turn 1 and will take the race lead as
Michel's off! Michel's off at the final corner!
All that hard work, all that pace that he had, and he's gone and thrown it all away with just silly errors and silly mistakes, and he will have to serve that penalty within this race. He will not run out of time, but Robert Smith now leads this race in the BMW ahead of the Mustang of NRTF Games. And Max Mulder now up into 3rd from the back of the pack. It shows you can work your way to the front.
It does show you that indeed, and for Richie Michel here, he's going to lose out even more. Where he may have come out, he's no longer going to. Sam and John Gooday are side by side coming up towards turn 2. Sam looking to the outside line once again. Aston v Aston, and they both get a poor exit. Sam wide over the sausage curb. John Gooday just had a bit of a slide on the rear. That's allowed them both to get a poor exit. Borough Bex is watching on from the background as they come down towards turn 3. Sam tucks back in behind, down towards P. Williams. He's all over the rear end of Dean Wysocki. Did he just tap him into turn 2? Not sure. But for Dean Wysocki, he's managed to stay ahead of P. Williams for the time being. They've got Monkey Boy catching them. And like you say, Richie Michel has threw away a potential podium in this race.
Yeah, the 64 of Darren Bell has cleared his pit stop and his drive-through as well. It's been a painful race, but again, I'm going to give him some massive respects for just completing the race. It's hard enough on its own, but it's definitely worth just getting every single point where you can. John Gooday, meanwhile, I was watching his fight with Sam, and as they came down to turn 3, he was all over the curb, and the rear end did not look happy, but he looks a lot faster here at Red Bull Ring than he did at Snat, which is nice to see.
Nice to see the current Constructors champ looking better this time around. Richie Michel is in. He's lost out to Gooday and Sam and Borough Bex. Here comes Diego Flores and Dean. Behind them it will be Cranky Duckhead, Micro Jace, Dean Wysocki and P. Williams. They're all going to fly through, as will Monkey Boy, who's got damage to the front of his Mustang. John Andrews might even get on the back of him. B. Craig might be a push. So Cranky's through, Jay's through, Dean's through, Williams is through. There goes Monkey Boy. Justin Winters in to do his stop. He's had a nightmare of a race. Here comes John Andrews. B. Craig might possibly get ahead of Richie Michel, so he could be down in 19th place when he exits the pit stand. That has gone horribly wrong for him, as now Fat Bloke looking to get within a second of Mirko Richie, who's flying the flag for Richie Corsa, the Team FBR Mercedes-Benz, going great guns at the moment.
Yeah, it's a power circuit, isn't it? Long straight, so the Mercedes is at home here, and I'm not surprised that the BMW and the Mustang are looking good here as well. The McLaren was always going to be strong in the mid part of the track, but ever since then, all the power straights are going to the hands of the Mercedes and the Mustang. But right now, I'm on board with S2M Borough Bex, who's hustling the back of his fellow FBR racer Sam, and they're going at it for these final top 10 positions. But it's some great racing here at Red Bull Ring. There's been questionable moves and a bit of contact here and there, but nonetheless, it's been pretty much decent racing since.
It has as well. Dean's on the back of Diego Flores, half your Constructors champion from last season, racing as an independent this time around. He's on the back of Diego Flores at the moment. You've still got Paul Williams trying to get past Dean Wasocki as well. That's been a couple of laps. Looks like Paul Williams' lights are just flickering ever so slightly. Dean had a moment out the penultimate corner, managed to get it back together for that final corner. Just wondering if P. Williams got damage here. Just as we flicked on board, his lights definitely flickering under the braking zones in his Lamborghini, so I don't know what he's hit, but there is a definite flicker on them lights. Dean gaining on player man, as we said, and Burrabex gaining on that of Sam. Fat Bloke as well now has that gap. In fact, he doesn't have the gap to 7/10. He is right on the boot lid of Mirko Ricci. This will put him up into P4, and the Team FBR guys going strong in what is 5th and 8th currently. But one looking to gain a place, the other might lose one.
Yeah, all the teams need to be gaining some points here, as half of the BSP racing aren't here. So they will need to try and score as many points as possible.
I've just received a message from Clouden on Discord that Justin Winter got disconnected from the session. That is why he was the last one to pit, and that is why he's now 5 laps down. So that explains that one then.
That does indeed. Meanwhile, the back end of Richie in P4 is shaking all over the place, and Fat Bloke is possibly looking for an opportunity to pounce. They're both in the centre of the road. Fat Bloke trying to gain as much straight line as he possibly can. All over the curb is the McLaren, but Fat Bloke is the one who runs wide. But he gets a decent exit actually, and if he gets a decent toe towards the second corner, or effectively the third corner, they class as bend as a turn 2, but it's not really a corner. He could go into the hairpin with a good opportunity, but he didn't get that drive, so he's going to have to wait a little bit longer.
Burrabex now on the back of Sam. He's pulled to the outside. Sam's going to defend the inside line coming into turn 2. Breaks a little earlier than Burrabex, but he's gone deep, and Burrabex gets the undercut, and the switchback, he plays an absolute peach, and Burrabex moves up into P8. That is a great move from S2M Burrabex here down towards Dean. He's still on the back of Diego Flores, and Paul Williams has got past Dean Wasocki. Dean Wasocki has now been passed by Monkey Boy. So whatever has happened to Dean, he's been passed by his Season 1 teammate on Project Cars 2, and Monkey Boy has got some significant damage to the front of that Ford Mustang.
Yeah, it's a little bit beaten. Lightning McQueen wouldn't be too happy that his car looked like that. But leader is on the final lap. That is Robert Smith, and ever since the pit stop, he has had this race under control. 6.2 ahead of NRTF Games, and Max Mulder sitting in a solid P3, while we got this amazing fight between Fat Bloke and Richie.
Now, that's purely undercut for Robert Smith. Get out the traffic, get the clean laps in and go, because we saw Gomez just get stuck in the traffic, and that's what's cost him this race win. Richie's got a little wide. Fat Bloke not able to capitalise. Would you agree, Dan, that's where Gomez has lost this race, in lapping them cars and them getting in his way?
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, Robert knew exactly what he needed to do. He needed to come into the pits before they got into the lap traffic. And once he got into that clean air, no one in his way, he was able to then just do purely what he needed to do, which was pumping some decent lap times, while he was too busy. The Mustang driver was too busy trying to work his way through the lapped runners. Well, Fat Bloke is still, he's going to go for it. He's trying to send it on Richie, but doesn't get quite far enough alongside. And Fat Bloke will have to think of something else as he comes towards the end of this race. But Robert Smith coming into the final sector now.
He is coming into the final sector now, and Robert Smith has done very, very well in this race. He rounds the penultimate corner. He didn't have the best of races, had to miss out on race 2 last week due to an emergency, but he's going to come to the line, and he's going to become a new race winner here at SimPlay Motorsport. It is Robert Smith who takes the first win. Gomez, though, on his debut, good second place, and he's going to get the Ford Mustang's first ever podium. Max Mulder, what a championship he's having at the moment. He's going to take home a P3. It has been great driving from him so far this season. Then we turn our attention to Mirko Ricci, who he looks like he's going to beat Fat Bloke to the line for P4, who got there just in the end. Dizzle wasn't a million miles away, you know, so he's had a good race. P5 will go the way of Fat Bloke, and then it will be Dizzle in P6.
I think there may have been contact with Fat Bloke and Richie. I'm just going back to the replay now to have a look-see, but there was a reason why they were both very wide. I will find out as soon as I can.
Thank you very much. As drivers now all coming towards the line, here comes Micro Jays to cross the line in P13. P. Williams is going to come across the line in P14. Monkey Boy is going to come across the line in P15. Dean Wysocki is back in the pit lane. I'm not quite sure why. I don't think he's finished this race yet. John Andrews will get 16th place. B. Craig will get 17th place. Richie Michelle now given a place due to Dean Wysocki back in the pits. He gets 18th. Dean Wysocki in the pits 19th. DJ Phil 20th. And Darren Bell will get 21st in this one.
Yeah, that's what you get. You get your points after that. Yes, it's been a horrible race, but now, especially with this setup, the way things are, you can just adjust and change things, find where the pressures were lurking, find out where the car's going wrong after you've got back out on track and ready for the hour-long race. I found out what happened between Fat Bloke and Richie. As they went into the final sector, Richie kind of got a little bit squirmy on the end of the second-to-last corner, and Fat Bloke just hit the brakes and checked up. No contact made. Great avoiding action, and they both ran wide in the final corner, and that's how Dizzle got so close behind them in the end. But fantastic control by Fat Bloke not to go into the back of him.
Fantastic control indeed. We've got the qualifying coming up in a few moments' time, followed by the second race of the afternoon. So make sure you don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, to SimPlay Motorsport here for the first qualifying of the evening, the third qualifying of the season. I've got my money on who I think is going to be favourite for this one. It is potentially Richie Michelle, but it is so far Brian Craig who is the first man out on the circuit. And I can tell you the championship standings are as follows. Max Mulder has a 12-point lead over that of Dizzle. S2M Borough Base excuse me, is currently sat in P3 with Fat Bloke in 4th. Justin Winter down in 5th place after not a great race one. P. Williams is P6. Robert Smith, after that win, moves up into P7 with Mirko Ricci in 8th. Tim Ventink is P9 with John Gooday rounding out the top 10. Then it is Brian Craig, Cranky Duckhead, followed by Sam and Richie Michelle, who had all the pace but ruined his race one. Micro Jace down to 15th with Diego Flores. Naval RT Gomez is P17 from Darren Bell. Then it is Dean, DJ Phil, John Andrews, M Tucker, Kieran Argent, Dean Wasocki, Graham Andrew Taylor, Phil Radin, the Jackal, Nukewace and Oliver. Now, just looking, we do have the Jackal in, so he is in for this race. The constructors looks like this. BSP Racing lead the way, 21 points clear of Stage 2 Motorsport. Without Tim Ventink tonight, you feel that Stage 2 could really get a grasp on cutting that 21 points down. Team FBR are P3 with Greasy Bandits in 4th. Richie Corsa are 5th with Team Merlot P6. FSO Junior P7. Vorta Racing Independent P8 from Greasy Bandit Junior Independent P9. Manufacturers, it is McLaren 127 points clear of BMW. Then it is Lamborghini 2 points ahead of Porsche from Aston Martin, 50 behind them. Ferrari are 8 behind Aston Martin from Ford, Honda and Mercedes. And this race, Dan, marks a very special one because DJ Phil will get his 350th race here tonight.
What a landmark that is. I'm not sure who's the closest to him, but 300 races here at SimPlay Motorsport, the most appeared here. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for DJ Phil. He is running the wheel. I don't know if he's running it now, but now's the best time to get out and get into your session and get some lap times on the board. It is going to be Craig, who is going to be the pace setter. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting race nonetheless, and I'm looking forward to this qualifying session and to the hour race because it could be a spicy one.
Could be a spicy one indeed. And John Andrews, Fat Bloke, yet to come out on the circuit, as has Monkey Boy. So all a bit quiet in terms of that so far. But B. Craig going to be the man who will set the first lap time in this qualifying. And the track will always improve with 15 minutes to go here.
They will indeed. Track will improve. The more the cars go around and rubber down, they will improve. And just genuinely get better grip and better pace from these cars. But obviously the first laps tend to be where the tyres trying to get up to pressure, up to temperature. But some people tend to, I know one particular driver, a championship rival back in the Project Cars days, Andy, used to just pump those tyre pressures right up so that the first lap he'd done, they would be like bang on. But after that, they would be completely dead and useless, as Robert Smith sets the pace with a 1:29.4 as Richie Mitchell crosses the line and only goes into P2 with that first attempt.
Yeah, and a lot of drivers, Dan, this is what we're going to see now, over that track limits, not setting lap times. The next driver to set a lap time will be that of B. Craig, who's just set the first one of the session. So that just goes to show you where we're at the moment. The track limits around here that we've not really spoken about, and this is something we might see in this next race, is that we may see these drivers get these drive-through penalties for taking them track limits. It's just going to be interesting as all the drivers restart their last laps. Fat Bloke is now emerging from the pit lane and isn't really going to be in anybody's way as car 44. That is Dean Wasocki, has had a moment coming out to turn 1, and that is him who's invalidated his next run.
It has indeed. And who am I currently on board? I'm currently on board with Sam, who's not been able to put a lap time on the board. It is then going to be the 333 of, I believe that is Brian Craig. Yes, it is. He's into the penultimate corner now, and he's going to be the next one to set a lap time. Currently 4th at the minute, and it is very close as Max Mulder goes fastest overall, but it's only a tenth separating the top 4 at the minute as Brian Craig now comes in and crosses the line and goes top of the tables as Dizzle then goes faster again, and all the times are coming in thick and fast as Richie Michelle is now also in the final corner. Has he gone and found the time that he needed? He's been in the 28.4s. He crosses the line and no improvement. Well, he improves, but not by much.
Yeah, not by much at all. So this is going to be an interesting one here to see what he can do in this session. Car coming around the final corner. I believe that is the 204. No, that one is through. The 204 is Justin Winter. Sorry, he comes down the final bend. With that of the Ford Mustang of Gomez. Gomez goes into P6. Justin Winter stays P10. Car 8 of Hypertech is the next one, who will round the final corner and come excuse me, to the line. And he comes to the line now and sets a time good enough for P6. Next car on a flying lap is that of Sam, who's going to come out. The Aston Martin showing they've got a little bit of pace here.
We do indeed, as still like I said, the BMW drivers are the ones setting the pace. The front line, the straight line speed in a minute is what's helping them. Max Mulder is currently on a valid lap time, so he comes to the line as Pete Williams crosses the line first. They'll put him into P10 as Max Mulder crosses the line and does not improve. So a little bit more time for him to find as Micro J's next cross line. He improves but doesn't improve on position.
Doesn't indeed. B. Craig to the line. He goes back to the top of the timing screens before Dizzle knocks him off his perch there then. So these two exchanging lap times at the minute. It'll be S2M Burrabex who is next to cross the line as he comes to it now. And what will he do? 1.8 off the pole. Goes up into P6 before car 93 of Michelle goes and puts it on pole by a tenth of a second.
He does indeed. That's a tenth ahead, but we do know we can find probably 2 more tenths in it. But we'll see what the others got. They might have held something back in. They might have done their own private testing. You just don't know what other people can do. We're still waiting to see what the Jackal can properly do once he gets a lap time on the board. We've still got 3 drivers yet to set a lap time. Ritchie, Dimasaki, and Fat Bloke. Dimasaki ain't on a lap time, nor is Fat Bloke. So these 3 struggling to get a lap time on the board at the minute.
And this is going to prove very costly if you take these track limits in the race. Drive-through penalties for an hour as John Gooday now moves back up to P6. On the timing screens, it'll be then Sam who's getting a lovely slipstream from that. Looks to be, yes it is, it's Dean Wisocki. Sam comes to the line, no improvement, and it looks like he's going to return to the pits. 180 is then next to the line, and 180 is, there is no 180 that I can see. Is it 100 then that is next to the line? It is that of Monkey Boy who moves up, who's going to move up into P16 before the 77. Monkey Boy goes from 16th to 12th. Micro J's now looking to move up the order. He goes from 18th and goes up into 17th. Then it is car 75. That is Dizzle, currently 1.26 off the pole, at 0.126 off the pole, and stays that far behind as well.
Does indeed. Sam goes back to the pits, as is Max Mulder. So these guys got a little bit more time to get back on track. Who is currently in the final sector at the minute? We've got a couple of cars coming to the end. We've got the 999 of the Jackal, one of the only few drivers who's actually chose a livery from the game, and he comes to the line now. He's currently 21st at the minute, and this lap time is going to be up to 17, so he found a little bit more time as a few more drivers exiting the final corner to try and get a lap time on the board. And we are still waiting for Dean Wasocki to put one together, as he is on a valid lap at the minute. Can he keep it all together as he comes into the final sector?
Well, it's John Gooday exiting the final corner, 9/10 off the pole. He's in P9. He moves up into P6 and halves that deficit. Dean Wasocki, as Dan says, rounds the final corner now. The only man not on a lap time. And he's coming down towards the start-finish line now to start one more lap. Goes ahead of John Andrews and is just behind that of Dean. Can he find a couple more tenths in this car this time around? Monkey Boy will be the next car in his Ford Mustang. Ford Mustang's first podium in the hands of Gomez in race 1. What will Monkey Boy do is he's going to come to the line now. 2 seconds off the pole. Finds a 10th, stays 15th. It's car 75. That is Dizzle. Can he take this pole position?
Can he indeed, as he can really do with the points. Yes, he does. He does improve. BMW looking good now. Richie Mitchell under some pressure now. Can he deliver the lap time that he needs as Dizzle goes back to the pier? It's probably one of his best laps, as Max Mulder is still trying to find those 4 magical tenths to try and get towards the front. He can't allow his championship rival to get too far ahead. DJ Phil now next to the line before car 64. He's 21st. He stays in 21st. Darren Bell will be the next car before the 999, that of the Jackal once again, and Darren Bell stays P13. Here comes the Jackal. Does he move up? He does. Up to P16
for him. Not sure what car it is. I believe it's the 204. It is. It's the Mustang of Gomez and Justin Winter who stay where they are. Next car on a lap is out of Dean Wysocki, who needs just a couple attempts to get himself ready. DJ Phil and Micro J's down the back of the order. And a big gap then for Dean Wysocki. He's not going to complain about traffic. It's all about getting his lap together.
It is indeed. Dizzle is staying in the pits at the minute. He's making a few adjustments and changes. Max Mulder's gone very wide, but as we come to the final sector now, it is Dean Wysocki to the line, 3.5 off the pace, and he does not improve. Fat Bloke now towards the line, and I don't think he improved either. Dean does, though, in P. He goes up to P15, as all the lap times are starting to come now. It's 33. That is Brian Craig, the next one on a valid lap, followed by the 117, which has just gone over track limits, which was Robert Smith. He's now losing out as Brian Craig does not improve, and we're starting to see the peak of these guys at this stage of this qualifying session. Only 4 minutes left to go. Who is going to come out on top of this one, as S2M Borobex is the next one on a valid lap.
He is the next one on a valid lap, comes into the final corner now, and will it be a good one? Down in 9th place, just over a second off the leaders, then that of Dizzle. Richie Michel not having the outright pace at the moment, and Borobex does not improve this time around. The 64 is then coming to the line. That is Darren Bell. He doesn't find an improvement. Sedan, these drivers not able to find an improvement late on in this session.
It's very difficult to find that slight improvement here at the Red Bull Ring now, because when you do, you have to either push track limits or you've got to try and take some wing off and gain some straight line speed. The heavy braking zones up and down hills is what can catch people out, and Dean Wysocki is the next one on a lap time. He is towing Fat Bloke behind him. Fat Bloke currently in 8th. If he can find a second, he'll be up there with Dizzle and Richie Michel. But at the minute, Dean Wysocki into the final where he has a big snap. But that's going to help Fat Bloke get in the toe as they both come towards the line now. Dean Wysocki doesn't improve. Fat Bloke doesn't improve either.
Nope, they don't improve, and the next car on a valid one is Robert Smith, who's way down the pack at the... Sorry, I say way down the pack, a bit further on the track. He's 5th place, but he's got a bit of a gap in front of him, so he's not going to worry about the traffic in front holding him up. Race 1 winner, brand new winner. We love a new winner, and this is going to be great to see. Robert Smith comes to the line. No improvement, stays where he is. Next car is car 68 of Borobex. Who has he just bailed on the lap? He has. It'll now be Sam on the lap, not wanting to hold the FBR boys up.
Did he give his fellow FBR driver a tow? That's the question. As Sam comes into the final corner, he's very sideways in the Aston Martin, and Borobex comes into pits, probably practicing the pit lane just to be sure. Sam does improve, so that slight toe that he had does give him a bit of advantage. Justin Winter, though, into the final corner now in the Porsche 992, probably the best sounding car on the grid, and probably the best looking as well. Towards the line now, no improvement.
Fat Bloke will be the next man, and he's clear of Dean Wysocki in this one. So can he get towards improving his time? Needs 2 attempts to go ahead of Mirko Ricci in this one. He looks like he has bailed. He's gone to the pit lane. So then we'll turn our attention to the 93 of Richie Michel. Just needs over a 10th, Dan, to put it on pole. Max Mulder obviously has that 12-point lead in the championship, but at the minute we'll be losing one of them points to Dizzle if it carries on this way. Remember, for Dizzle, he could be getting BMW closer to their 50th pole position as Richie Michel does not improve the 117 now of Robert Smith.
Max is up.
Can he do it?
Max is up on his best. I've just gone on to drive. He is up. He is finding time. Max Mulder into the final corner now. What's this going to be? Max Mulder
it's pole position. It's pole position provisionally for Max Mulder. What a lap time that is. Diego Flores across the line. He does not improve. So Dizzle has got to go again. Car 96 is now out there. And for Richie Michel, Dan, he must have thought in practice that he had pole position locked in. He's now on the second row of the grid. Here comes Sam. Is this going to be an improvement? Will it move him into the top 10? No, it will not. Car 53 now of DJ Phil.
I'm on board with the 31 of the Cranky Duckhead. He's currently on an out lap. This is his first lap out. So it is an out lap, so no lap time from him. I'm looking to the 93 now. Gone to drive so I can give you the updates on their personal best. 93, it is Richie Michel, and he's currently down. He's not improving. He's losing time.
losing time. So when he thought he may have had it his own way in qualifying, it hasn't been for him. Maybe still a bit frustrated after the way the first race went. That is going to be the key issue here. Round the final corner comes Richie Michelle down the start-finish straight. Will there be any, excuse me, be any improvement? Well. No, there won't be from Richie Michelle. 75 is Dizzle. Dan just said he's down. Is Dizzle bailing? Dizzle could have got one more run in.
Smith.
He has bailed. The 117 of Robert Smith, though. What's he going to do as he comes towards the line? He's giving Max Mulder a bit of a slipstream. Max Mulder's done. He is out of it. What is Robert Smith going to do? He goes P4 ahead of B. Craig.
That's such a shame. He was up by 6/10 going into the final corner, and he lost it all in that last corner. So such a shame for him. Monkey Boy currently on a lap time. He is not improving at the stage. It's close. He's within a 10th, but not an improvement at this stage. The last car that's on a lap, the 31, which is the Cranky Duckhead. He is on a lap time and he's improving.
Here comes John Andrews, and is he going to improve on his lap time? It's Monkey Boy 17th. John Andrews needs 9/10 to go ahead of Dean Wisocki. He improves but stays where he is. Monkey Boy stays P17, the 53. That is DJ Phil. He'll stay 21st. And then it is the Cranky Duckhead, who needs 2.9. Can he move himself inside that top 20? It's going to be Max Mulder, who will take his second pole position of the season. Cranky Duckhead stays P18. I think he got ahead of the Jekyll at the end.
He did, yes, he did. He was in 19th and he managed to find that time to get ahead of the Jackal. But a very, very intense qualifying session. But it is Max Mulder who takes pole position 2 times in a row, I believe now. He did a SNET and he's done it here at the Red Bull Ring when it was all looking like it was Richie Michelle, the one to beat. But yeah, some of these boys hadn't probably ran low fuel, and Dizzle and Max Mulder definitely surprised everyone. It's the same front row as we'd had last week.
It is indeed, and it was the same front row we had in both races last week. Max Mulder took the race 2 pole position, so that is technically back-to-back pole positions for Max Mulder in this season. So he's having a great season so far, is Max. But that also, Dan, extends his championship lead to 13 points. Now, I know it's easy to talk about the championship at this stage, especially with them 2 extra weeks. There's still 21 races left to go, so 13 points is a very minute margin at this time.
Oh, definitely so. We're not even talking about the championship at this stage, you know. Even though Dizzle and Max Mulder are having a fantastic start to the season, the final end, somebody else might bring the fight. You just don't know. We came into this weekend thinking it was going to be all Max Mulder and Dizzle, and then we see Richie Mitchell suddenly bring some pace to the leaders, and just missing out ever so slightly. John Goudet having a much better qualifying session. He is up in 6th place with his Aston Martin. Brian Craig also looking good, and also Robert Smith taking his first win. There's another BMW driver that's in there to give the likes of Max Mulder, Dizzle, and John Goudet, and also Richie Michelle a bit of a headache, a guy to just keep an eye on by the looks of things. But nonetheless, the Mustang looking fairly average round here, I would say. Seems to be very good in the straights, but struggling in the corners.
Struggling especially in that middle sector, I think, is where it's probably going to lose all of its time out of turn 3 into 4 and 5. But that for McLaren then gives it its 3rd pole position this season, 1 in the Endurance and 2 now in Pro-Am. That is its 72nd pole position. In terms of podiums, we saw one for the Ford. That is its very first. It now goes ahead of the Cadillac, the Jaguar, the KTM, the Maserati, and the Alpine. We also saw the BMW take its 124th, and I believe Max Mulder was on the podium to give McLaren its 6th podium of the season and its 210th in total here. The race win for the BMW, though, is its 2nd win of the season and 2nd win in Pro-Am. Not Dizzle, Robert Smith. That is 42 race wins to its name. And for Max Mulder, seeing his stats over Robert Smith are a bit more. He's been here for a while. He now goes tied with sorry, that's race wins I'm looking at. He now goes tied with Ukbar. There's a blast from the past on 17 pole positions.
Now, as we go into the hour-long race here at the Red Bull Ring, these guys will get used to doing some long straights and very basic corners, but they're going to have to learn to get rid of all that, because the next round of the championship, we're heading back to Great Britain once again, as we'll be heading to Brands Hatch for the next round of the season. Very tight, twisty circuit, and I will expect the McLaren to be very, very strong there. Any car with very high downforce should be very good at Brands Hatch, but it is all about Red Bull Ring for this hour-long race. And Matt, obviously, any car is an option. You can choose whatever you like. If you were here just purely doing a Red Bull Ring race, what would be your car of choice?
Red Bull Ring, do you know what? I'm probably looking at the Ferrari, looks like it's got the best all-round. No, sorry, I thought I saw a car disappear. I'll probably be looking at Ferrari for this track. Seems to have good overall top speed, good on its brakes, good out the traction zones. Yeah, I'd go Ferrari. The BM obviously seems okay. It looks quite nimble, but McLaren, we know, is pretty much an all-round car. Yourself?
There's definitely two cars that aren't in this championship, which would definitely be incredibly strong around here. One would be the Nissan GTR. I would believe would be a solid car around here, as with the Lexus. The fastest car in a straight line, and there's a lot of straights here, so the Lexus would probably be a very good shout as well. But with the choices of cars that are on the grid, I would actually look at the Mustang and possibly even the Ferrari as well. BMW is a strong contender, and you can never count out the McLaren. But once again, it is Max Mulder and Diesel on the front row, as it was the last two races that we've had a qualifying session. Matt, who are you going for this race?
I'm going for Robert Smith from 4th place.
Well, I'm going to be the boring one. I'm going to go Max Mulder for this one.
Fair enough.
And we'll see how this all pans out. Guys, let's hear you in the chat. Who do you think is going to win this race? Put your opinions in the chat. Let's hear from you guys. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to be notified. Also, don't forget to follow Design Manchester and Audio Sport as well, our fantastic sponsors, as we get ready for the green.
We get ready for the green. The drivers take down. Max Mulder's got a bit of a gap over Diesel. Diesel's let him get away a little bit. And we are, for round 4 of the season, green and go. And it's a drive-through penalty. That is car 57 down the back of the pack. I believe that is John Andrews. Yes, it is. And it is very congested down towards turn 1. But Max Mulder gets away well. And Richie Michelle swoops around the outside of Diesel. Was he able to keep it? Fat Bloke's got off. And Richie Michelle did get past Diesel already. So it is a great start from the leaders. What about Robert Smith? He is he's been swamped actually by B. Craig, and John Gooday's no longer there as well. It's Mirko Ritchie looking up the inside of Robert Smith, and they are all through nice and cleanly at the front. But what's happened at the back, Dan?
It was the wrong time to come across as I was having mid burp. Dean, Monkey Boy, and the Jackal all came together on the straight. Not Dean Wasocki, the Ferrari Dean, and they all came together down the straight. That bloke dropped it on the rear, contact from behind, and has dropped to the back of the pack now with also John Andrews and Monkey Boy are at the back of the pack. But it's Max Mulder leading from Richie Mitchell from Diesel in the BMW, and I know that BMW is so much better in race pace than it is in quality. So what can Diesel do now he's with the top 3?
It's going to be interesting. B. Craig is then in P4. He got a good start ahead of Robert Smith, who's got back ahead of Mirko Ritchie. Then he is on the back of him now, and Mirko Ritchie gets a good run out the middle sector. He's going to look up the inside into the penultimate corner. Bit of an overtaking spot if he can get it done nice and easy, and he does. Smith gives him plenty of room and respect. Them two swap places. John Gooday now fancies a piece of this. Round the outside of the final corner, tries to tuck underneath, but he's tucked it underneath, and he's tucked it into the wall, and that is not the start of the race he wanted. It is not the start of this season he wanted. P. Williams is now under pressure from John Gooday's teammate. That is Justin Winter, as Burra Becks is now on the back of Robert Smith, and Winter to the outside of Williams can't get it done. And what's just happened to Robert Smith? Had a bit of a moment on the exit of turn 1. He's all fine now.
He's very loose. He was very, very loose going into turn 1. I don't think his pressures and temperature are up to pace right now, possibly a little bit low, but Borobeck's getting the job done and goes in front. Absolute disaster for John Goudet there, and it's just all because Ritchie was able to get past as there's a yellow flag for the back. It's once again, I think once again,
Robert Smith.
Robert Smith's gone round.
So he's gone at turn 2. Don't know if he's kept it out of the wall. Exactly, it is a real curse. Don't know if he's kept it out the wall. And that has put him down to the back of the pack, I do believe. Yeah, it's put him behind Gomez. The two Mustangs down the back of the order. But it is Max from Michelle from Diesel. Great camera angle here as they come down into the middle section from B. Craig, Mirko Ritchie. And then it is Burra Becks. Robert Smith is no longer there. So who's behind Burra Becks? They'll come through the second sector. It is P. Williams. Justin Winter still on the back of him from Diego Flores. Then it is John Gooday. Sam from Darren Bell, Cranky Duckhead. Winter's wide though, and that's allowed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars through.
That's allowed more cars through altogether. He's not got going. He's stuck in the gravel by the looks of things. Or is he just waiting for the entire pack to go by?
Now, hang on a moment, Dan. Apologise. Apologies
Paul
here.
Williams there as
Yeah,
well.
that's what I've just seen in the background. Paul Williams is with him. Has he waited and let Paul Williams go? So have they had a moment just as we panned away from them?
Not sure, but Paul Williams is pulling over to the side and stopping and return to the pits. I'm going to have to find the replay now.
Yeah, that's an interesting one to keep our eyes on. We'll have to see what happened there, but we're back with John Goodey, who's on the rear of Diego Flores, and then he's got Sam and Darren Bell behind him. John Andrews needs to do his drive-through in the next lap, otherwise that'll be a further penalty for him. John Goodey looking up the inside of Diego Flores. Is he through? Can he... get the traction out of the corner? No, he cannot. And that momentum all lost, but Sam and Darren Bell side by side in the background. So with P. Williams returning to the pits, that gives everybody a extra position, and Bell still looking up the inside of that on Sam. And the Aston Martin driver drops the wheel into the gravel out the exit of turn 3, and that puts Darren Bell up another place, down back to Dean then, who is trying to hunt down DJ Phil. The Jackal has been passed by Micro J's. He's got Fat Bloke trying to come through. In fact, that's not Fat Bloke, that is Robert Smith. So let me just have a look here. John Andrews very slow, Justin Winter very slow. So what's happened to where's Dean Wasocki? Was in the pack somewhere. So there's Darren, there's Sam, there's Darren Bell, then it's Robert Smith. Dean Wasocki's up to 15th. Yes, so I'm not sure what's happened to Fat Bloke, but he was behind Dean. He's now down in 20th place.
He is indeed, and what happened to Justin Winter and Paul Williams was Paul Williams ran a little bit wide going into the left-hander, going into the end of that chicane, and as he had done so, Justin Winter got right up behind him, made contact to the rear and spun him round, and he went straight into the wall, nose first, major damage. And obviously Justin Winter stopped for him, but the damage is already done, and he is retired from this race in the pit lane. And he's also commented in the chat, dreadful driving by some, and if he's not happy, then feel free to please put in a ticket so we can resolve the driving issues. But at the minute, Sam's going side by side with Micro J's. They're having a good little scrap at the minute, heading towards turn 3.
Yeah, they are. You got Robert Smith just behind them with that of Darren Bell. So not sure what's happened to Darren Bell. He's dropped back a little bit. Micro J's always seems to be outside the top 10 at the moment, so he's having a good run of just finding himself in that top 10 sort of scrap, and Sam's going to go up the inside. J's not going to fight that one too hard.
Robert Smith's having a fantastic comeback at the minute.
Yeah.
He was last. He's already 15th. So he's working his way up the pack. And obviously with this hour-long race, where is he on track? He's currently going into the final sector while the leaders are now completing the final sector. So it's still catchable. Obviously with the hour-long race, anything can happen, as Max Mulder is leading the way and takes fastest lap back from Richie Mitchell. But the gap is 4 tenths, and Dizzle is just sitting and watching.
Now let's just point this one out here. Blast from the past. Dean Wasocki versus his Season 1 teammate Monkey Boy with Fat Bloke, and then the Jackal on the rear end. So it's 4 cars down for 17th, 18th and 19th place. And Dean Wasocki is ahead of Monkey Boy.
Dean's had a great run on the cranky duckhead through turn 1. He's in the slipstream. The Ferrari is right on the rear wing of the the Honda, and he's going to the outside and is going to try and outbrake him into the hairpin, and he does so. But is he going to go too deep? He is, but he's just going to stay within track limits and gets that job done around the outside of the cranky duckhead.
Great generators. Now you've just cursed Robert Smith once again, because what has happened to him, he's dropped back down to P20 and is behind that 4-way battle that I mentioned a moment ago of Dean, Monkey Boy, Fat Bloke and the Jackal. So Robert Smith back down into 20th place, P. Williams back out on the circuit, and here comes Monkey Boy side by side with Fat Bloke. Dean Wasocki defending the inside, down in towards turn 3. Jackal just watching on behind them all, and Fat Bloke's into the gravel trap, and that'll give the Jackal a bit of a run out of turn 3, and now Monkey Boy can still attack the back of Dean Wasocki once again, and all through it was relatively clean. Who's that off? I can't make that out. Darren Bell.
It's Darren Bell, and then there's a Mustang.
Oh, that is, it's Anotti Gomez.
And Darren Bell's dropped it again. There's a lot of messy driving going on in this race here.
Sloppy.
A lot of cars off, and a lot of unsafe rejoins as well. Dizzle now sets fastest lap of the race, but he's lost pace with the leaders as Richie Mitchell's right on the rear wing of Max Mulder looking to the hairpin.
He is going up in towards turn 2, but Michel can't do anything about it, and Max Mulder doing everything he needs to do. He'll be wanting to back Michel into Dizzle so that Dizzle can start to put some pressure on. Speaking of the other Richie, Mirko Richie is coming under pressure from Borough Becks. They're within 0.6 of a second. B. Craig, a couple of seconds up the road from them. We've got the Cranky Duckhead still trying to gain on the back of Dean, with Sam hunting him down in his Aston Martin. He's going great guns. DJ Phil, who's on the pad, on the wheel in race 1, he said in the chat, he's on the pad for the second race. He's back up to 12th. Micro J's down in 13th. Has Robert Smith.
The Jackal, sorry, it was the Jackal. Into the hairpin, he was attacking Monkey Boy. Going into the hairpin, Monkey Boy ran a little bit wide, but that Mustang with the straight line advantage will try and stay in front, but he's got damage to the front end. They're all stuck behind Fat Bloke and Dean Wasocki, and Fat Bloke's going to send it on Dean Wasocki into the hairpin, and there's contact made.
There is contact made. Did they both go around? The camera pans around now. Dean Wasocki still there. Fat Bloke is off. Monkey Boy got past all three of them. So Dean, kept ahead of the Jackal. The Jackal looks like he got caught up in that because he's still behind Dean Wasocki. And there is Robert Smith, who's now managed to gain 2 places because he's still behind Dean Wasocki. But Monkey Boy and Robert Smith, the beneficiaries there.
The top 3 trading the fastest laps at the minute. Max Mulder's got it back once again. Dizzle just dropping back ever so slightly, but these 3 have long gone and dropped Brian Craig, who's having quite a quiet race at the minute as he's staying ahead of the other Richie, who's only 2 seconds behind, but he's got 2 SM Borough Becks right behind him.
I don't know if Sam gave Dean a tap there, but Dean was very slow, bouncing over the sausage curb at turn 1, and I think Sam tapped the rear of him and finished him going round. Dean's lost out though back to Cranky and to Sam. DJ Phil's gone through, so has Micro J, so they've all got past. Where is Dean? He's got going now, but he's lost out to Robert Smith, the Jackal, and Dean Wasocki, so Dean's gone from 13th down to about 17th place.
Monkey Boy's dropped it as well. He's dropped right to the back, probably took too much curb and went round. Now the top 3 are getting close. Dizzle was within 0.8 of Richie Mitchell. The top 3 are within a second of one another. This is going to be interesting for the lead of the race. Meanwhile, Borough Becks is really putting the pressure onto the fellow Richie Mitchell teammate of Richie, heading into the second to last corner. The 2 McLaren drivers, who's going to come out on top of this one, as they're also trying to catch Brian Craig. But the McLaren drivers all going at it at the minute, while the leaders are only separated by 6 to 8 tenths.
It's a cracking race at the moment. This is action and drama no matter where you look. Like you say, Mirko Richie now on the defence over that of S2M Borough Becks. Misses the sausage curb completely. Doesn't really compromise his run. What's happened, Dan?
Just going to comment that S2M Borough Becks had a great run as Richie took too much curb and actually wiggled going out of turn 1. And now this is Borough Becks' best opportunity to attack, but he's not brave enough on the brakes and will try and get that better traction and run towards turn 1.
It is the better traction as well, coming down towards turn 3. Then Borough Becks right on the back of Mirko Richie as you see them coming down towards the third corner. Borough Becks goes left. He now jinks back to the right. He's going to look for that inside line. Can he get it up the inside on the brakes? Mirko's giving plenty of space and Borough Becks is through. John Gooday trying to get past them as well, but it is a great scrap at the moment, and that puts Borough Becks up to 6th place. The lead though, Dan, Richie Michel's got within 4 tenths and Dizzle's close within 7 tenths of him. The top 3 are on a mission.
They are indeed, and just a question to answer in the chat. It's around 1 minute 28.8 is Max Mulder's fastest lap time, but it's been around the low 29s is what these boys are doing on the console around here at the Red Bull Ring. But it is 4 tenths between 7 tenths between the top 3, and they've dropped Brian Craig.
They have dropped Brian Craig and Richie Michel trying to come back at Max Mulder. They've just pulled away from Dizzle a little bit, but they've got P. Williams and that of John Andrews who they're catching to put a lap on. I believe P. Williams has got to unlap himself from that of John Andrews. He's a couple of laps down, and the leaders already after lap 8 to catch in the back of the field here in Pro-Am. Don't forget, tomorrow night at 8 p.m, the Pro Boys will be live on the circuit. Myself and Dan will be taken to the track. P. Williams looks like he had a moment out of turn 2. He stays right out of the way as through goes Max, Michel and Dizzle.
He's just being respectfully getting out of the way. And meanwhile, Sam and DJ Phil are going at it. DJ Phil trying to send it on Sam into turn 1, but Sam goes right round the outside and gets the job done. Actually, Sam was overtaking DJ Phil and he gets that job done, moving up in the Aston Martin. While the fight at the minute is Monkey Boy, the Mustang fight. It's between Monkey Boy and NRTF Racing Games. And they're going at it into turn 1. Who's going to be the leading Mustang? They make contact.
They do make contact, and Monkey Boy stays ahead for the time being. And it's the Mustangs battling for 18th and 19th place down the order as RB Racing's getting out of breath by watching the action and what's happening up front.
Richie Mitchell has been 3/10s. Obviously, they're trying to clear John Andrews, who's right in the way. Dizzle is trying to clear him, but he's holding him up. Meanwhile, Richie Mitchell is right on the rear wing of Max, and Max is trying to break the toe.
Max trying to break the toe, so this is going to be interesting here as John Andrews moves out to Dizzle's way. They've dropped Dizzle a little bit of these two, and now Richie Michel trying to put some pressure on Max Mulder for the lead of this race. Micro J's has just moved up to 11th, ahead of DJ Phil Green, and Max Mulder's going to try and do everything he can. If it's anything like another Max, we know there'll be great orange support for the Dutchman at this circuit.
DJ Phil is now attacking Micro J's, or has Micro J's cleared DJ Phil? I'm not quite sure, but either way, DJ Phil is in a scrap with the BMW driver, and Robert Smith is just behind them as well. But Richie Michel has got a great run out of turn 2 and is right on the rear wing of Max Mulder. Max has to defend down towards turn 3.
Defends towards turn 3. Michel tries to look up the inside, can't do anything about it there. Then this is going to allow Dizzle to come back into play in this race, and it's a great battle between the top 3 at the moment. DJ Phil has been overtaken by Jays and is trying to get on the back. Robert Smith still with them and battles down the order once again. Gomez looks like he's got ahead of Monkey Boy for 18th and 19th place, but it is a great scrap for the lead. You're seeing the different lines, the amount of curb each car is taking, and it is Max from Michel from Dizzle. It is 3 different manufacturers for this race lead, and what a start to this race. 45 minutes left to go in this one. It has been an absolute blinder so far. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and hit that bell to be notified when we are live. Pro-Am head to back to Great Britain next week, with Brands Hatch being the location, but it is Max from Michel from Dizzle, 3 for the lead, and Dizzle's back within 0.8 of a second as Michel loses out to Max Mulder.
Robert Smith going round the outside of Micro J's in the middle sector. He already done that to DJ Phil in turn 3. Then they went down to turn 4 and he went right round the outside of Micro J's, and Jay really not fighting a car that's a lot faster than him. He is now within 1 place to get himself back into the top 10 is Robert Smith, and a good comeback considering the disaster of the start of this race. NRT
Gomez has got ahead of Dean, the Ferrari Dean, so Dean is down to 18th place. Gomez can now head after Wasaki Dean in P16 at the moment. Justin Winters up to 14th place. The Jackal Winters 15th. The Jackal is up to 14th. But it is really this battle out front. And as you can see, Dan, it's once again Everton Float, and now Dizzle's within 3/10, and Richie Michel's lost out even more.
He has indeed, but as you can see, each car seems to be benefiting from different sectors. It seems like the Ferrari seems to be very good in the final sector, brings that gap down. The McLaren's very solid in the middle sector, and then the BMW builds it all back up in the first. So you can see where all these cars have a different advantage, and it's all keeping them level pegging at the minute. And Max Mulder doing a fantastic job of absorbing all this pressure.
He is at the moment showing how good a drive this could be, and could it be a second race 2 win of the season for Max? Richie Michel did drop a wheel in the middle sector on the gravel, so he's got a bit to do as Max Mulder is cooking in the chat. Indeed he is, and he pulls away now. That gap is just over 0.8, but it is Dizzle who is the man who's on the charge, trying to get onto the back of Richie Michel. Great fight between these 3. Richie's really put the work in this week. He didn't have outright pace last time out at Snetterton, but is doing well so far, and so far so good if you're Dizzle as well, who's on a bit of a comeback drive still from race 1. He wants that podium back after he failed in the first race.
There's a car off in the final set, I believe. That is DJ Phil. Yes, it is. DJ Phil is off, and he's got major damage to his car.
That is huge damage. Here goes Monkey Boy, and then Darren Bell. Fat bloke has got some damage as well. He's going to get past, as will John Andrews. You feel the pit window opens around the 37.5 minutes, if I'm correct, so he's still got a long way to go. Max Mulder's now got a second gap to Richie Michel, and it is Dizzle who is now second place. He's now, it's Dizzle who's third place. He's within 0.2 of Michel, so he has got work to do if he is to get past. But Max is deep into turn 4, and all of a sudden it brings them 2 back on his rear.
Yeah, the sector that's really meant to be suiting the McLaren. He's just made a little mistake there. But Dizzle is being patient. He's taking his time and he is waiting for the opportunity. If I was Richie Michel right now, I would just let Dizzle go and try and get him to put some pressure on Max Mulder and then collect the pieces when they two eventually come together. Because it's been twice this season. Both of them have made contact. Will they manage to make contact again? That is the question. But right now, Richie Michel just losing pace to Max Mulder now.
Yeah, he's just losing a bit of pace to Max Mulder, is Richie Michel. Is that the Ferrari tyres maybe just going through a bit of a phase? Dean attacking the back of Gomez further down the order, I think is what you was about to say, Dan, and he's really looking on the back of that Mustang. A lot of cars with a bit, excuse me, with a bit of damage down this order. And these two are 5 seconds behind Dean Wysocki, who's 6 seconds behind Justin Winter. Robert Smith, by the way, within 2 seconds of Sam. I thought I heard a car going slow. Call 53, yellow flag again. DJ Phil has got to try and get it across the circuit. He'd have probably be better off pulling over and returning to the pits. But look, he's struggling to turn that car.
He needs to just return to pits if it's that damage. Oh, he's looking like he's managed to get in. I think he's just trying to abide to the rules, but he's just actually making himself more dangerous at this stage.
Oh, no!
And there we go. That's what was eventually going to happen.
And DJ Phil, yeah.
Contact.
Wow. Well, DJ Phil there, Dan, right on the racing line as well, because the pit entry is right on the racing line in the apex of the corner. Dean, well, making the contact. That is unfortunate. Dizzle, though, has now stayed to the back of Richie Michel. He's been dropped by Max Mulder. As we say, evening to Tucker. Hi from Portugal. I should be racing. Hashtag Forza Team Merlot. Hopefully you're enjoying Portugal, Tucker, and hopefully he'll be back next week for Brands Hatch and what will be a fantastic one. But Max Mulder at the minute, he's just now extending this gap while Dizzle's putting the pressure on Richie.
Yeah, it's gone from Richie was gone from being the hunter to being the hunted. He's probably spending more time looking in his rear view instead of going forward. And it's going to be a matter of time. Dizzle might be thinking, when does the pit window open so I can probably get in? But he's looking at turn 2. He's got the overlap and he's going to send it into the hairpin. And looks like the BMW driver trying to get better exit. But Richie Michel's been pushed out wide. And that is it. Dizzle has now passed the Ferrari. Can he do anything about Max Mulder?
Gap up to 2 seconds now between Richie and Max Mulder, maybe even a little more since the overtake, and that is going to be an interesting one to keep our eyes on. Down the order once again, Sam trying to get on to, sorry, Robert Smith.
Oh, I just saw that from what, did he just...
I'm not sure. Yeah, he disappeared and it took me back on Dizzle, so I'm not sure what happened there to Robert Smith. Either way,
he
was sideways, but then it took me back on Dizzle. He's catching on Sam. Dean's trying to get onto the back of NRT Gomez, who he, by the way, is now all over the rear end of Dean Wysocki, and Dean probably suffering with a great loss of front end performance due to colliding with the back of DJ Phil, has got a Mustang trying to get on him. Paul Williams may gain a place in this race. In fact, he will, because he's going to pass DJ Phil when he comes to line. Fat bloke on the rear of Darren Bell as well. But it's Robert Smith who's now on the verge of a top 10 spot. He's right on the rear wing of Sam.
He is indeed, and Dizzle has made no impression in the final half of this lap. He'll probably try to get those tyres to cool down a little bit, get him back into a nice zone to try and bring down Max Mulder. But if I was then Dizzle, I would start thinking about maybe a tyre change.
There's a yellow flag. That is turn 1, and 44. That is Dean Wysocki. That's turn 2, sorry, and that is Dean Wysocki. That he's gone right around there.
Possibly contact, but I will find out.
Max is third. Max is third. So Max was well in front, and Max is now P3, and Dizzle leads this race by 2 seconds. Dan's going to get on the replays. Hopefully find out what happened to Dean and to Max Mulder now. And Robert Smith is within a tenth of Sam. They've exited turn 1. Robert Smith's got an overlap. They're side by side as they exit turn 1, climbing up the hill towards turn 2. And here comes Robert Smith to the inside line of Sam, who's just got a bit of damage. Robert Smith, easy as you like. Thank you, Mama.
Dean's been spun round.
By Gomez, I assume. Gomez was behind him,
yeah. Dean flashes the light to the marshals, and I'm not sure why. They can't do much about it other than probably push him out.
DJ
but yeah, the Mustang spun him round.
has just received a stop-go penalty for speeding in the pits, even though his car was absolutely knackered. Robert Smith, though, moves inside the top 10. He's only a couple of seconds behind Cranky Duckhead. And with the leaders changing places once again, it's going to be interesting. Pit window has just opened, and there's a few drivers...
Max. I found out what happened to Max. Turn 1, inside curb, clobbered it a little bit too hard. The rear then didn't like it, went round, and he dropped behind. Luckily, he didn't make contact with the wall, but he had hit the inside curb. The car bounced, and the rest is history.
There we go then. John Andrews manages to be the first man to trigger a pit stop then as he comes into the pit. 77, that is Micro J's running in a solid 12th place, can we say. He's not going to need to pull the trigger. He's kind of in no man's land. He's 12 seconds behind Sam. He's 5 seconds up the road from Justin Winter. He's gone a little wide, but yeah, pit stop's now going to be triggered, but it is Dizzle from Richie Michelle from Max Mulder. B. Craig 9 seconds behind. He's nowhere near in this race. Then it is Borough Becks, Mirko Ritchie, John Gooday 7th, Diego Flores P8, Cranky Duckhead is 9th, with Robert Smith hunting him down. 1.7 is that gap. Then it is Sam, Micro J's, Justin Winter, the Jackal, NRT Gomez. He's going to pit this lap. Then it will be Dean who stays out. Fat Bloke from Darren Bell. Fat Bloke pitting, Darren Bell also pitting. Then it will be Monkey Boy. He looks like he's also coming into the pit lane. He's got some damage to his car. Dean Wasocki, who I assume is going to also come into the pits, or is he going to stay out? He stayed to the right of the pit line, and well, that'll be a penalty for a pit lane cut.
It will indeed. I'm just currently trying to find Robert Smith, because his lap times, compared to other cars around him, he's been electric. So I'm just trying to find out what he's actually...
We've lost him. We've lost Robert Smith. His name's not on that list. They're down to 22 drivers. His name is not on that list.
That is such a shame. Has he been disconnected? It's got to be.
Possibly so.
That was a hero's drive, that was, and he's gone. And yeah, he's gone from the session. There he is. He's back in. He's been disconnected.
Oh, your heart bleeds for him because he's just had no luck in this second race. Your heart absolutely bleeds. But B. Craig's now got some action. He's got that of Borough Becks on the rear end of him. This is coming down towards turn 3, so... Brian Craig at the moment has got Borough Becks with him. DJ Phil has just come in to do his stop go and has got to go around again to pit again. So DJ Phil's night is pretty much done and will be that of P23. Even though Darren Bell has 2 minutes to wait, DJ Phil still has to make his stop. What's Max done now?
He's just pushing track limits. He's run very wide in the middle sector. He's trying hard to catch onto the back of Richie Mitchell. But Dizzle, ever since he's into the pits, he's come and reacted straight away. And is that going to put him into traffic? That is the question. Most of these drivers would have been paying attention to see where cars drop out in pit lane. But Brian Craig and... S2 and Borough Becks having a fantastic fight, and so far these two have been phenomenal. They've been great. Yeah. I was not expecting this from Brian Craig. He's really brought the pace here tonight. Stepped
up his game. He had a great race last week. He was running P3 up until a disconnection to his name pulled an end to that one, and he's doing so well again at the moment. He's got Borough Becks on the back of him, though. Dizzle has pulled the trigger from the leaders to get into the pits. Micro J's will be the lead car who is out of the pits. He's exiting now. That is Monkey Boy leaving just in front of him with Dean Wasocki, I do believe. Them two have completed their stop, but Micro J's the leader of the pit runners at the moment. Obviously Dizzle in the pits now, but it is Borough Becks who's chasing down that of B. Craig. Two lovely liveries on them McLarens, and it's going to be interesting to see what they can do, as Max Mulder's now within half a second of Richie Mitchell.
He is indeed. Which one of them will react to Dizzle, because they basically just gone and said, right, okay, we'll scrap while you go into the pits, and that's just really handed some clean air to it. Where is Dizzle on track?
Just came out the pit lane.
Yeah, he's all on his own, so that is perfect for him. Nice clean air, and neither of these two are reacting to him. They're too busy fighting for race lead, and Dizzle will have track position, clean air, and clean air is such vital in this game. It's just the dirty air will affect the cars. As S2M Borough Becks has now opted to pit as he gets alongside Brian Craig, but Brian Craig continues to go on through. But I do believe Max Mulder and Richie Mitchell, especially Max, he should have pitted.
Should have, yeah, he should have pulled the trigger.
Behind him.
He should have pulled the trigger. Max Mulder now right up the rear end of Richie Michel. He's going to look to the outside. Michel's going to force him to the outside line of turn 2. As on the brakes they go. Can the McLaren think of cutting back? He tries it. Michel parks her on the apex. An absolute beaut. And Max Mulder cannot get through. It'll compromise his run out of 2 down towards 3 as well. So Borough Bex now pulls the trigger in terms of the pit stops. Dizzle is now the lead car from the pit stops and is a couple of places out of Jay.
That second's gone. Precious seconds gone.
Yeah.
Dizzle is gaining. Meanwhile, I'm watching the fight between Fat Bloke and Gomez at the minute. They're having a little scrap. The fight for the heaviest, brutiest looking machine. And Fat Bloke is still in front, but Gomez is looking to the outside as Fat Bloke closes the door. That's one move he's made. Gomez looking to the inside of the penultimate corner. That is bold, and he gets the job done. And Fat Bloke once again showing the respect. And oh, he's gone wide and made a mistake. And Fat Bloke gets. Oh, Fat Bloke's gone off now. Oh God, Mercedes and Mustangs. It's just yeah. Mustangs, especially American car, just doesn't know how to go straight.
Don't know how to take a right-hander neither. Max Mulder stays on the track. Richie Michel reacts and goes into the pits. B. Craig is going to react to S2M Borough Bex. Yeah, I think it's too late as well. Mirko Richie is going to stay out on the track at the moment. John
Gomez is off.
Gomez off, then that'll allow Fat Bloke back through. John Gooday going to stay out. What about Diego Flores then? He's got Dean and Cranky Duck. He's got Dean behind him, who's a lap down, and Cranky Duckhead separating them to 4 position.
Brian Craig's in.
So Brian in, Richie Michel in, Flores stays out, Cranky stays out. Dizzle's already pitted. Justin Winter kicking up a bit of gravel coming through, the middle sector. John Andrews has now gone green. Oh, has he returned to the pit lane?
I think he returned. He just suddenly appeared out of nowhere on my screen.
Okay. Fair enough then. Justin Winter will stay out. What about the Jackal? No, he also stays out. Just Ferrari Dean left to pit, and Robert Smith and Paul Williams.
Dizzle gone across the line and heading towards turn number 1 as Richie Mitchell's only now gone off this box. So this is what I was saying. It was it's too many laps too late, because Dizzle is now down the road as Richie Mitchell only now comes up to turn 1, where it was a second or 2. It is easily more, as Paul Williams has got major damage to his car.
He's got huge damage. He hasn't pitted yet, but he has got huge damage, and that's a shame for him. Robert Smith will get past John Andrews at some stage in this one, and so Max Mulder stays on track. He's now got to hope that while he's got some clean air, he can pump in qualifying laps, and he can be the man to push, and get that gap built. But he's gone so wide at turn 1, that'll possibly be a track limits warning for Max Mulder. He will not want many more of them, as the Cranky Duckhead is now gaining on Diego Flores for P5 and 4.
I'm trying to find out what happened to Paul Williams. It was a shame that he'd made contact with some form of wall or car, I'm not sure, but this race is going from bad to worse for him, as I'm just scrolling through now. All looks fine for the minute. Oh God, I'm not on the right lap. That's possibly why. And it was John Andrews had his own moment, hit the wall, and just came across and hit Paul Williams. The bad luck continues, minding his own business, and John Andrews has his own moment, comes across the track and wallops into the side of the Lamborghini driver.
So there we go then. John Andrews, that might be why John Andrews returned to the pit. Second, Cranky Duckhead still trying to hang on in there from Diego Flores in this fight. John Andrews still in the pits.
John Goudet is having a great race at the minute.
He is. He's moved up to P3, yet to pit, but he's on the back of Mirko Richie as well. So we've got a battle for second and third. We've got a battle for fourth and for fifth then. And yeah, this is an interesting one. Where's Macro J? He's up to 14th behind Sam and B. Craig Dean yet to pit at the moment.
M. Ritchie had a big moment coming out of the middle sector, and John Goudet got right on the back wing of him. But these two battling it out to try and get within the top 5. And that's pit lane. That was a last-minute call there from Richie, and another white line infringement there. But Max Mulder, has he then thought, okay, I've left it too late, I've been fighting Richie Mitchell for too long. Has he gone, do you know what, I'm now going to go for the overcut. I've got the clean air now.
Yeah.
No one's around me, because Dizzle right now has made a gap of 10 seconds to Richie Mitchell, who's just got no pace since the pit stop.
So Mirko in the pits. That releases Cranky and Diego. Dizzle's coming down the start straight. Like I said, he's got no pace since the pit stop. Where's Borough Bex? He's not quite close enough to him. Richie Michel's got Justin Winter. No, he hasn't. Justin Winter's now into the pits as well. The Jackal's been off mid-sector. So that's allowed Borough Bex. So I think the Jackal is now going to pull into the pit lane. He's coming over to that side of the track. He's got some big damage to the front of his car. So it looks like he's going to pit. So Borough Bex has got past him. B. Craig has got past him. Dean has got past him. Sam is going to come past him.
Max has pitted.
So Max pitted? Yes, he's just pitting now. Yes, apologies.
He's into the pits and he's right behind the Jackal, who's been very cautious going into pit lane, and Max nearly hits the back of him. He doesn't want damage right this second. He's got a little bit of scuff on the front, but Dizzle now has gone into the middle sector. So we'll see where this all pans out. But if Max has used his time well in the clean air, he's going to try and overcut Dizzle. He can't lose to 10. He can't lose 11 seconds to Richie Mitchell, because that's going to be a whole lot of problems.
Yeah.
Maybe Richie repaired damage. I don't know, or changed tyres.
Possibly. We're currently watching Cranky Duckhead and Diego Flores. No, we're not. Diego Flores is going to call that into the pits. So did John Gooday then. So where's Dizzle? Coming into the penultimate corner now. Max is stationary in his box. So wait for Max's number to go green. That is another car into the pits as well. I believe that might have been Dean, or it might have been John Andrews, who's coming in once again. Here comes Dizzle. Max hasn't even gone green yet. Dizzle is through and away. And where's Richie Mitchell? He's now coming down the start straight. Max is now away, but Richie Michel is going to pass Max Mulder and is going to gain so much time. Where's Borough Bex? He's coming down the start line. I don't think that's going to be enough. Max Mulder fastest up. I tell you what, it might be a little closer than we think here. Mulder's now just off the pit limiter. Here comes Borough Bex in towards turn one. Borough Bex clatters the curb, but he gets through. Is he past Max Mulder? Oh, this is very close. They're side by side coming up towards turn two. B. Craig sitting behind them, and Max nearly losing out on a podium spot here. He will have the inside line. Still got damage on the front end, so as he clipped the wall on the exit, and Borough Bex gets through on Mulder.
Brilliant move there from Borough Bex. He gets the job done. Horrible for Max Mulder. I was wrong. He hasn't repaired the damage. So has he changed tyres? Either way, this has gone horribly wrong. The undercut has been the stronger strategy. So the pro drivers, if they're watching this, they will see that the undercut is the better option, as Max Mulder, staying out longer, has lost out even more to Dizzle, who's 11.2 ahead of Richie Mitchell, who's then probably another 10-15 seconds behind him.
He is indeed. Diego Flores has got Sam within 6/10. That's even closer than that on this leaderboard at the moment. Max got screwed over by his team in the pits. Probably did. I mean, Max probably changed the tyres, like you said, Dan, looking for that fresh rubber at the end, and this is where you could lose that 5 seconds and the strategy that you take in this race, but he will have much fresher rubber. Cranky Duckhead is in the pits. He's going to be overtaken by all these drivers. What about Dean? 1 minute 45 left. Yeah, I'd be bringing that in as well, because I don't think you're going to get another lap out of that. So Dean in. That'll release John Gooday. Mirko Ritchie's had a moment in the middle set. That's allowed Diego Flores through, who's having a great scrap with Sam. Sam's now on the rear wing, pulls out to look up the inside for that top 10 spot. Sam's got a bit of damage. You see the bonnet bouncing around on the Aston Martin and has his nose chopped off by Diego Flores there. So these two keep going at the moment. Where is Justin Winter? He's coming through the middle sector, as is Micro J's coming down towards middle sector now. So Cranky Duckhead will come out in front there. Micro J's might, though, get that of Dean to move himself up into P12. But Max on the back of Borough Bex.
Sam just gone down the inside of Diego Flores and gets the job done in turn one in the Aston Martin. So he makes another position there. John Gooday is looking to try and extend the gap to the Cranky Duckhead, who's only just come out of pits, and right into the middle of that fight with Diego Flores, and no, he's actually dropped behind them, sorry. So I thought he was in front, he's not. And the Cranky Duckhead is having a solid race here. P10 at the minute for the Honda, and Diego Flores has got back in front of Sam once again. So these two having a great little scrap.
They are.
Max is attacking.
Darren Bell is looking on the back of Monkey Boy. No, Monkey Boy's looking back up the inside of him into turn 2. Can't do it. Let's go down to Max on Burrow-Beggs. Attacked into the penultimate corner, but he'll have to wait to turn 1 again. Burrow-Beggs a little wider than Max Mulder. Very great to see no track limit penalties at the moment around this circuit, which can be very harsh. But at the minute, all squeaky clean for all these drivers. Yellow flag, turn 1. That is the number 180 car. I believe that is P. Williams, who's on the racing line. And did his teammate hit him? Max and Burrow-Beggs split him. Nobody made contact, thank God for that. But P. Williams did what he needed to do, and that was keep it still.
I bet Burrow-Beggs and Paul Williams were communicating there saying, look, I'm in the middle of the road, split me, and he did. So that was very, very lucky. Great driving from the two McLaren drivers, and as again, Paul Williams doing what the rules and regulations says, stay where you are, do not move, and he was allowing the two cars to split him and make no contact. So brilliant driving there. While these two are too busy fighting one another, Brian Craig is bringing the gap down.
Yeah, he's bringing the gap down, just going back to Sam, who's back ahead of Diego Flores, and that is Mirko Ricci, who I believe has put Diego on the grass. I cannot see Diego. There he is. He rejoins now. That'll be into the path of the Cranky Duckhead, who is going to come sailing up the inside. Honda power and all. Later on the brakes up the inside. Diego pretty much gives him that spot. Taps the rear for good measure. Down towards the Jackal, though, because he's got the Mustang of NRT Gomez and Fat Bloke's Mercedes gaining on him. You see Sam in the background. So this is a fight for 14th, 15th and 16th. Let's go back to Max Mulder, Dan.
He's put the lights on. He's angry now. He wants to clear S2M Burrow-Beggs. He's got the lights on. He gets a better run out the final corner every time, abusing that inside curb. But it's not enough as S2M Burrow-Beggs gets the better exit and is going to have to try and defend turn 1. But he holds his racing line. He is not fazed by Max whatsoever as they go up towards turn 1.
Yellow flag in the middle sector. That was NRT Gomez, who is now slow away. He was in that fight with Jackal and Fat Bloke. If you remember, Fat Bloke has got ahead of the pair of them. And Darren Bell will now be able to try and get past then the Jackal. The race leader is coming up to lap a few cars at turn 3. And Max is looking up the inside in towards 2. Not close enough at the minute while these two are scrapping. B. Craig's going to try and get close enough. Back to Diego Flores on the back of Cranky Duckhead as well. Let's drop down to the Jackal. He has lost out to Fat Bloke. Then it is NRT Gomez. Darren Bell not close enough to him. But Max Mulder now, full attack, lights on. He means business.
He does mean business. And usually when the lights are on, that means he's had enough. He's angry. He wants the position. And we know another driver that likes using his lights. And usually that's a sign that he's either frustrated or annoyed or just looking to attack. And probably the same situation with Max Mulder right now. He's on full attack as he knows that he's made a massive mistake. He's made a massive error because he's basically 11.5 seconds behind Richie Mitchell, who's another 11.5 seconds behind Dizzle. Dizzle has just played the strategy to perfection here. He didn't outdo Max in race 1 in a sprint, but he's outsmarted everybody in the feature.
He has outsmarted everybody in the feature, and he's come from the second row of the grid to do it at the moment. Max now full attack down towards turn 1. Pulls out on Burrow-Beggs. He's going to just be alongside, is he? Not quite enough. Late on the brakes, so Max Mulder misses the exit of the corner, but manages to somehow keep it within the track limits. That was full send from the BSP Racing McLaren, and that is Max Mulder into P3 ahead of Burrow-Beggs. What a manoeuvre. Burrow-Beggs had no answer for that one, but great racing from the pair. Will Burrow-Beggs look to attack the same as Max did? No, he does not, and sits patiently behind now. Let's go back down to Diego Flores and Cranky Duckhead, though. The Honda half a second ahead of the Porsche at the moment.
It's going to be a lot of work for Max now to try and catch the leaders, but he's still got Burrow-Beggs right behind him. He's not going to let this one go too easily, but nonetheless, it is now all starting to spread out a little bit as the Cranky Duckhead is trying to stay ahead of Diego Flores, who's into turn coming out of turn 1, heading towards turn 2, and that Porsche just struggles in the straight line, while the Honda is one of the strongest in the straight line.
Yeah, we were surprised by that at a race at Monza. The Honda actually a little better powered on ACC than what it used to be on Project Cars 2. Borough Beck's trying to stick with Max, but he's just not able to do so quite enough at the moment. Max turns his light off, gives them a flash though to Dean, who is now a lapped car. Dean down in 13th place. He's 10 seconds behind Micro J, so trying to pull back some places there. Dean out the final corner, moves straight to the inside, all over the marbles. He does not want to be involved with this, and he may want to slow down a little more because he doesn't want to pull in just yet. He's got Borough Beck, so he could do with letting through, and Dean pulls in, takes the racing line into turn 1, and Borough Becks will not be happy with that. That's John Andrews, I do believe. I think it's John Andrews.
It is John Andrews. He's had another moment in turn 1. Turn 1 is such a horrible corner as once again Diego Flores makes up all that time in the middle sector, but then comes to the straight line bits and the Honda pulls away. This is your closest fight between the Cranky Duckhead and Diego Flores, while everyone else is pretty spread out at the minute.
Pretty spread out indeed, and this is going great guns if you're Dizzle, and it could be back-to-back BMW wins in Pro-Am tonight. Robert Smith took the first race win. It is going to be Dizzle who will take the race too. At the moment, there is 17.5 minutes left in this race, and so far, Dan, it's been an action-packed night. Don't forget the pros will be coming up tomorrow night, 8 p.m. GMT +1. You will not want to miss any of that action. It is going to be an absolute belter as we enter that one.
Dizzle's lost time. He's having a fight with a Mustang driver.
Yeah, that is Gomez. He's also been struggling to get past DJ Phil and Monkey Boy with the blue flags. So as Monkey Boy's trying to lap DJ Phil as well as hunt down Gomez. So I just turned to this a moment ago. He's been in the midst of some traffic, and that has allowed Michelle to get within 8 seconds.
The Mustang has been a bit boisterous. Oh, and he nearly hits the back of Dizzle. Gomez missing his brakes and nearly clobbers the back of the BMW driver, and that's just put him under pressure from Monkey Boy. DJ Phil's right behind Monkey Boy as well, so DJ Phil might be becoming a bit of a nuisance for Monkey Boy at this stage.
He might be. He's just been lapped by Monkey Boy has DJ Phil, but Richie Michelle's going to be coming down to lap these soon. B. Craig, 7 tenths now to Borough Becks. Borough Becks' pace has just gone. So did Borough Becks not change tyres? And that's possibly what got him the jump over Max Mulder and B. Craig, because B. Craig all of a sudden right on the rear wing of Borough Becks.
He is indeed, and then there's a massive gap back to John Goudet for them. So John's kind of on his own at the minute. Sam is hunting him down, but B. Craig here is really trying to bring the pressure to Borough Becks, and he might be starting to feel it now. What was 12 seconds to lead is now 7.7 at the minute from Mitchie Richel and Dizzle. So those two are starting a little bit closer, and Max is absolutely flying. He's brought the gap down to 8.6. But is it going to be enough with 15 minutes to go? It's a lot to ask. A second to that was Dean Wasoki's had a moment and moved straight out of the way. He's dropped behind. He's just moved out of the way. He's obviously a couple of laps down. He's just moved right out of the way.
One thing to note with Richie Michelle is he's got these trio of cars of DJ Phil, Monkey Boy and Gomez to then put a lap on. So let's see how much of a nuisance they're going to be for Michelle here, who the gap's back up to 7.5. Now that Dizzle's got clear air, he can pump them lap times in. But B. Craig, Dan, now within 4 tenths of a second.
He is indeed, but it just seems to be ebbing and flowing between those two. Goes one way or the other. Now Dizzle, Cranky Duckhead and Diego Flores side by side going into the final sector, and the Cranky Duckhead gets back in front of the Porsche driver once again. So Cranky Duckhead trying to keep on to a night. There's a slight little bump from the Porsche driver there, and player man, as he's known, Diego Flores, is on the inside of the final corner, gets the better exit out of turn 1, but the Honda will be dragging its straight line advantage here right up behind, and we got Robert Smith behind them, who will probably want to unlap himself from these guys, and you see that he gets right onto the rear wing of the Cranky Duckhead.
And Robert Smith's only a sector behind Dean, so he's going to want to get a move on to try and get Dean Wasoki in this race then. B. Craig now 6 tenths behind. Justin Winter 7 seconds off the back of these two, so the more these two fight, the more that he's going to gain over them. Micro J's, what is he to the back of Justin Winter? A bit further, I believe, because he's coming around the final corner now. But as you can see, Dizzle's got the gap back up to 7.9, and it is Diego Flores who's pulled away from Cranky Duckhead. What's happened, Dan?
Richie Mitchell is now trying to clear DJ Phil, and DJ Phil once again just being a little bit of a nuisance for him. And we got the 57 stopped.
That's John Andrews. He's been into the wall big time. Just gone on board that.
I was just looking at lap times. Richie Mitchell's last lap was a 29.7. Well, I'll try and find what the others are doing.
Well, Dizzle's actually just nearly gained a second and a half just through Richie Michel, losing that time over DJ Phil. And Max Mulder's now coming.
Yeah, Max Mulder's last lap was the fastest lap of the race at 28.8. He is on a charge. He's clearly, I think he's changed tyres. Because he has suddenly got rapid pace as Dizzle has been very, very consistent. Now he's into clean air. It's a 29.0 is his fastest, and he's just on a 29.1. As I will look to Dizzle, actually. I don't know if I can see their current lap times. We'll compare them. Dizzle. So Dizzle's last couple of laps have all been in the 29s. Then he came up to the lap traffic, which was in the 30 and 34s, but he's been in the 29s consistently ever since he's cleared the lapped traffic. I'm not sure where Matt's gone, as Max Mulder now unlaps. He laps DJ Phil, and he makes it a little bit easier for him, as S2M Borobex is still under some immense pressure from Brian Craig. I'm not sure if Matt's viewing this or not, but yeah, we've got a tight fight between these three at the minute.
Apologies, just had a bit of a coughing fit, so I had to go on to mute. But we're okay now.
That's never good.
No, we are currently on, though, the Borobex and B. Craig fight, and that gap is 0.3 of a second. I think B. Craig changed his tyres. I think Borobex didn't, because Borobex was behind B. Craig before the pit stops. He's now got B. Craig hassling the back of him. That is Micro J's just in front. They're about to put a lap on. Sorry, Dan.
Max's gap. He was 8 seconds behind Richie Mitchell. He's now 4.9. Has he done a Fury?
Yeah, I think it's that. I think it's he's changed the tyres, as well as Richie Michel lost a second and a half behind DJ Phil. He's now getting in that big dirty air of that Mustang in front. And with the combination of Max changing tyres and Richie Michel now hunting down these two Mustangs to put a lap on, I think this is hurting the Ferrari driver.
I think it is as well, and this is like a lot of the drivers have been questioning the whole fuel situation and having to force put fuel and tyres on and so on and so forth. It's not going to really change the racing. It's not going to make it interesting. Well, race one, obviously, the reverse grid makes that the interesting, and strategy is what plays in that. How do you work the reverse grid? But obviously, into this hour-long race, and the guys forcing them to put fuel in for 25 seconds. But if they add an extra 5 seconds on top, they get the free set of tyres. Now, yes, Max Mulder has lost out in the pit lane and lost out in just track position, but he's got that fresh rubber to then push and attack. It was something like 24 seconds was the gap to Dizzle. It is now back down to 12. So he has made that time up.
Yeah, just over 13 seconds to Dizzle. There is Max Mulder in the background of Richie Michel, you see here. That gap's down to 2.5. And Richie Michel might be feeling the bit of dirty air from the Mustang. He's not really close enough to Monkey Boy for Monkey Boy to be warranted to move over. I don't believe Monkey Boy is receiving any blue flags. Let's just go on board with Monkey. I can't see stewards posts at the moment. And I can't see any blue flags. Hey, look, there's a couple of stewards stood there. As Monkey Boy comes through this section of the track, there is no blue flags being waved by the marshals at the moment. So Michel's not close enough to warrant the blue flags by Monkey Boy. And Max is now down to 1.6. Max is on a mission at the moment.
He is indeed. He's found that pace. He's found that consistency. And now he's attacking Richie Michel. Is it the way of fresh tyres? Is the way to go? Lose that 5 seconds. You know, or add that 5 seconds to then gain all that time back up and half fuel it. Possibly that's another thing he's done. He's not full fueled it, so now he's probably got the same amount of fuel he ran earlier on. And he's gone very, very wide in turn one.
He has gone very wide in turn one indeed, but Max Mulder is now going to look to pounce. He's still not close enough to Monkey Boy at all, and while they're fighting, they're also reeling in. Gomez and Monkey Boy are bringing in the Jackal here, so he's under now pressure from Gomez, and Max Mulder's within a second.
I think Max gained advantage running wide.
He's going to be pushing the limits, isn't he?
The gap was 1.2. After they got to sector 2, it was 6/10, and he really didn't look like he lifted or gained that time back. But either way, they're in a scrap, and Monkey Boy is now in a scrap as well. So he'll want the pride of Mustang, leading Mustang, and he's at the minute, he's got the leaders right behind him. What does he do here? Monkey Boy, quite a respectful and fair driver. He will probably jump straight out of the way when he possibly can.
He's got this tricky middle section to get through before he jumps out the way. Is this where we're going to see Monkey Boy dart to the right-hand side of the circuit? P. Williams is going to let Gomez through, and Monkey Boy doesn't want any part of this battle for the second and third place. At the moment, it's been so good so far for Max Mulder and Richie Michelle here. But who is going to do what? 7 minutes 55 left. And has Max just got an overlap on Richie Michelle? He has. And you just see the better grip out the final corner. And Max Mulder just drives past Richie Michelle like he's standing still. And that is great strategy from the BSP Racing boys. Max Mulder's into second. The Jackal's in the pits. That'll give Dean Wysocki another position. And possibly Robert Smith.
They, though, are 3 laps down from the Jackal, I believe.
No, they're when they cross the line, it'll be on the same lap.
Will it?
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, now I see. So Dean goes up a position then ahead of the Jackal.
He will do.
Max Mulder has now cleared Richie Mitchell quite quickly and easily, and now he has to try and clear the Mustang of Gomez, who seems to be a bit of a nuisance when it comes to blue flags. And right now, he is holding up Max Mulder.
Yeah, he's mid-corner. He's drifted wide. Max Mulder goes through, and that's Gomez off! That's Gomez off! Oh, he's gone straight across the circuit just in front of Richie Michelle. That should give Monkey Boy another place in there, as I believe the Jackal is now going. But Robert Smith, did Robert Smith get past in 1:17? I think he may have done. Yes, he has. So Robert Smith moves up into 19th place. Dean Wysocki moves up into 18th. And Monkey Boy, 17th place. But for Gomez at the moment, I've just literally put on driver of the day vote. As you can see, though, Max Mulder up into second place, 11.9 off Dizzle. He's got to go some to get on the back of Dizzle. And B. Craig still on the rear end of S2M Borough-Bex. He just cannot get close enough.
I think with the lap traffic ahead of him, he might be able to take advantage of this. So we'll see how that goes. The Cranky Duckhead and Justin Windsor have been having their own little scrap. They've dropped off Diego Flores, who's dropped behind. The Jackal at the minute is looking to try and unlap himself from Darren Bell, who's just had a horrid night of racing. But S2M Borough-Bex right now is being held up by John Andrews at the minute. He'll want to clear him as fast as possible because Brian Craig is coming, and John Andrews looks to move to the inside. Blue flag's being shown, and he comes back onto the racing line right in front of the leaders. And yeah, John Andrews needs to work on his awareness there because he's got leaders coming through, and they finally come through.
Yeah, Borough-Bex flashing like mad, and he's still flashing because he's got the 113 of...
And Brian Craig's just gone straight through as well, and 333 of Brian Craig is right on the rear wing of Borough-Bex. This is the moment he needed, and Borough-Bex was held up, and Brian Craig is now attacking.
Brian Craig is now attacking, and then they've got Gomez just in front of them. They're about to put a lap on as well. 0.2 of a second is the gap at the moment, and damn... Richie Michelle dropped right off the back of Max Mulder. Max Mulder slowly making inroads on Dizzle. It's not going to be enough for him. But Brian Craig, after the disastrous P3 disconnection last week, he's going to want P4 once again. And Borough-Bex still flashing like mad to tell Gomez, move out my way.
He is being shown blue flags. He needs to clear him within three corners. One, now we're into two. And Monkey Boy's at a moment.
Monkey Boy's round. That'll give Gomez the position back, and he still can't get it going. Can Monkey Boy not? Where is the car behind Dean Wysocki? He's only just come through the final corner. Monkey Boy looks like now he's away and slowly, but that is not what Monkey Boy would have wanted. Dean Wysocki's now going to try and hunt down him.
Gomez gone very wide.
And Borough-Bex has... Oh, there's contact with Borough-Bex. He's into Craig. Oh, no, he's into B. Craig.
What on earth is going on?
NRT Gomez has just bounced off of Borough-Bex and into the path of Brian Craig. John Gooday is nowhere near. I don't know if he's going to get that one done, but where is Gomez? He's now been passed by Monkey Boy. Dean is not a million miles away. Dean, keep it on the road. You could get another place here. Gomez is... that is badly damaged. But that is not what you want to see. Pull to the side, let the leaders through. Blue flags, we seem to talk about it every year. It's a bit like the Formula 1 now. Blue flags every season seem to cost a driver a good chance of a better position. Yeah,
definitely so. I mean, Brian Craig hasn't given us up. I don't know how much damage he has got, but that was just outrageous from Gomez as Borobex crosses the line. What is the gap now? It's 3.3. It's now 4 seconds. That damage will be affecting that McLaren. So Borobex can just keep it all together and keep going straight. But wow, what an outrageous moment there. It's just crazy to see, and it's just ruined Brian Craig's opportunity to score some decent points.
It has, and Gomez already falling into the clutches now of Dean Wysocki, and look how slow he is down the start line. Dean's even gave him a cheeky flash as he goes past. They've now got John Gooday, who's about to come and lap himself, and Gomez just staying off the line. This could. Where's Robert Smith? He's coming down the start line. Yeah, so Robert Smith here, you know, not only could he get close to the back of Dean by the end of this race, but he will get past out of Gomez because Gomez is very slow. Max got the gap down, but it's going to take Dizzle to make a couple of mistakes in this one. Dizzle's coming up to lap the cranky duckhead. He is flying in this second race.
He is indeed, and just, yeah, Dizzle just played the game right, and he hasn't been the outright fastest all the way through this, but he's just been Mr. Consistent, and he's just outsmarted the game. He's just done everything right, and yes, like I said, he didn't have the earlier pace leading the race, but he's just outsmarted them in the pits, and he's now on his way to another race win to become our first double winner of the season, possibly.
Yeah, well, in Pro-Am.
In Pro-Am, sorry.
Yeah. Come on. Mirko Ricci.
I'm not sure who you're referencing there.
Mirko Ricci here, by the way, was 1.8 ahead of Justin Winter through the last sector time. I don't know if he's had a mistake because Justin Winter is right up the gearbox of that McLaren, and the Porsche, he is... I tell you what, the Porsche is the best flash on the game. I will admit that. It's got the best flash. And I love a flash or two on a GT3 car. Now, Justin Winter's car looks battered and bruised and scuffed to pieces, but he is right on the back of Mirko Ricci here, pushing him down through the middle sector is this Porsche driver. And Justin Winter, normally a part of the FSO racing team. There is Gomez. Jackal might get Gomez here. He is just trying to get to the end of this race. If he pits now, that could be catastrophic. That could allow DJ Phil through. You're better off keep circulating the track, because we're only going to get one more lap in. Oh, Winter very slidey out the final corner. That's going to allow Mirko to just pull away a little bit.
As Dizzle comes into the final corner. And he will start his last lap here. And he'll become possibly... either way what's going to happen is either going to be Max or Dizzle. And we're going to have our first double winner of the season in Pro-Am. Winter is still pressurizing Ricci at the minute, but he's lost pace a little bit, ever so slightly. Everywhere else, though, is pretty static at this stage.
It is indeed. Get your votes in for Driver of the Day. Gomez went on the Driver of the Day vote just before the dramas. So that is why he's on the Driver of the Day vote. But get your votes in for Driver of the Day. Currently going the way of Robert Smith. You have to feel sorry for Robert Smith. Wrong place, wrong time, race 2. Then he had a disconnection as Winter and Mirko make contact.
Oh, no, not now. As long as they both stay out of driver's way. Cranky Duckhead is right there. The Cranky Duckhead could gain some positions here right at the very end. Where is Dizzle? He's just onto the back of these lots. So if he doesn't lap him, they'll have a whole nother lap to battle it out just at the end. So
this could be an interesting last lap fight.
Cranky Duckhead is probably thinking, just hang on, don't catch me, don't catch me. I'm catching the top guys. Because Cranky Duckhead has had a phenomenal drive.
He has had a phenomenal drive and could be on for a P8 depending here. I don't think Dizzle's going to put the lap on him. I think they're going to wait, but Mirko Ricci, Justin Winter, Cranky Duckhead. Dean's gaining on the back of Micro J's. So Micro J's needs to hang on for one more lap. In fact, Dean's the bonus for Micro J's. He's got Monkey Boy blocking him
final corner
from thingy. But Dizzo, though, comes round the final corner. He's going to be the first double winner of the season. He's going to take the race win. Great fashion for him. Max Mulder, he's not been off the podium yet. It's going to be second place and a fastest lap. What a drive from Max Mulder in this one. It is then going to be Richie Di Michele, who had all the pace coming into this race but couldn't put it together. Then it is going to be S2M Borough Beck's P4, his two loads of P4s this season, one in race 2 at Snetterton and one here in race 2 tonight. Diego Flores, Darren Bellin, the jackal of all finish. Here comes Borough Bex, and to the line he crosses it for P4. B. Craig, what could have been for him? It is still going to be P5. He hangs on in there at the end. John Gooday looks like he's going to come home for P6. Who is that going slow?
That's Dean Masocki.
No, that's 77. That's Micro J's. Oh, he's lost out to Dean. Has Micro J's run out of fuel? He's out of fuel. To Micro J's has not fueled enough, and he's out of fuel. John Gooday will come home for 6th place. Here comes Sam. This is going to be for P7, and then we go to that great scrap for P8.
Winter's off.
And Winter's off. There goes Mirko Ricci. Cranky Duckhead's now going to fly through. He's got a lot more time. Gomez with a 30-second stop go. Here comes Cranky Duckhead up the inside of Winter in the penultimate corner. Thank you, mama, for the carrots. A bit of contact made. The Honda's up into P9. Will he hang on to it though? As here comes Mirko Ricci. Micro Jesus still crawling to the line. Mirko Ricci is going to get 8th place, and it's going to go the way of Cranky Duckhead for P9. P10 will go the way of Justin Winter. What a race this is. We're just awaiting Micro Jace, who's the last man on the track. He's rolling to the line. Diego Flores will pick up P10.
Oh,
Dean will come home for P11. Fat Bloke will get P12. Micro Jace has just made it. Fat Bloke will get... why is that saying Dean Diego Flores P11? Is that right? Diego Flores I had as 10th. No, so somebody must have left. So Diego Flores 11th. Dean will come home for P12. Then it will be Fat Bloke for 13th. Dan, I'll let you interview Max Mulder again while I sort the results out.
What a race it's been. Dizzle takes the win, but we will go to Max Mulder. Obviously, we will figure out a way to do the Discord chat. Hopefully, we will be able to get to chat with the Xbox boys at some point. We need to just sit down and figure that out so you guys can hear them. But we will talk to Max Mulder. And Max, it looked like it was all going to plan at the start of the race. Then the pit stops came. Dizzle pitted early and decided to try and go for the undercut. You and Richie Mitchell had your own little fight, but went for the overcut, and you found yourself quite far back. Did you change tyres, and is that the mistake that you made in the pit stops?
Nah, the biggest mistake was that the lap that I want to pit, DJ Phil, I think, was going into the pit lane with damage, and I was like, nah, if I go behind him, I lose time. So I went another lap out, and then I hit him at his pit lane entry in the corner. So I lost a bit of time there, and then in the pit lane I missed my pit box a bit. Then I put my car on and went first a little bit, but my car wasn't going off again, so I lost there like 10 seconds or something. And then the fresh tires helped me at the end, but yeah, this was just too fast.
Yeah, so just to confirm, you did change tyres in that pit stop, correct?
Yes.
So, yeah, you can see the pace. I believe the other two didn't. Like you said, the pace that you had once you did put the fresh tyres on, you were flying through. Let's talk about back markers. It seemed like the back markers tonight seemed to be quite tricky, is probably the best word. How did you find it?
The most I found on track was very good. They were going out of the way in good places. Only I hit someone after that was left. My bad. I was too focused on getting fast. But he did a good job, I think.
Sadly, no teammate here with you tonight. But other than that, still some decent points for yourself and the team. Dizzle's really giving the fight to you. He doesn't seem to have the raw pace that you have, but he seems to be quite clever with the strategies. Do you think this is going to be a back and forwards championship, or is it you're going to have to start thinking differently at how you approach these races?
Yeah, I like that Dizzle is fast. He is better on the long pace because I start to make mistakes once I lose focus. So yeah, I just have to keep focused and I can fight with him, but he's very fast.
Next race of the championship is Brands Hatch GP, a circuit that tends to suit the McLaren very well. What is your opinion on Brands and what can you do there?
It's a quite small track, so not much space to make any mistakes. So I hope I can fight for the top 5 again there.
Well, congratulations nonetheless on the P2 and also the fastest lap as well. I'm just having a look at driver of the day. Sadly, did not get that one this time out, but better luck next time with Browns. But nonetheless, mate, congratulations on the 2nd place and the 3rd place in race 1, I believe.
Yep.
So double podium for himself, and that is Max Mulder. And Fury's granddad in the chat saying that Micro J's ran out of fuel, as we could clearly see him rolling to the pit lane. Been a dramatic race here at the Red Bull Ring. This is just the Pro-Am. The pros next to hit the track. And yeah, Matt, it's been a bit of a dramatic race, and the driver of the day went the way of Robert Smith.
Yeah, and you know what? Fair play to Robert Smith. He had a great first race. It was a second race that wasn't to be. The championship standings, though, look a little like this. Max Mulder leads the way from Diesel by 9 points. These two are going to be on it all season. Borough Bex is 3rd place, but 40 points behind. Fat Bloke in 4th. Michelle moves up to P5. Justin Winters P6 from Brian Craig. John Gooday moves into the top 8 with Mirko Ricci P9. Sam's in 10th. Cranky Duckhead 11th. Robert Smith up to 12th place with Paul Williams P13. Diego Flores is in 14th with Micro J's dropping down to 15th place. Tim Ventink is P16 from Dean. Darren Bell Gomez moves up into 19th place after a debut week for him and a first podium for the Ford Mustang. DJ Phil P20. John Andrews 21st with Dean Wasaki 22nd. Mark Tucker 23rd. Kieran Argent 24th. Andrew Taylor is 25th with Graham 26th. The Jackal 29th. P. Raiden 28th. Nuke Waste and Oliver yet to drive this season. Now, don't forget what this means for the drivers is there is drop scores as from this week up until the 10th track of the season. So them championship standings aren't accurate. Keep your eyes on social media and on the Discord for the correct drop score rounds. This is going to be important. Drop scores will be key. That'll be worked out off air, and we'll bring you them as soon as the stewarding is done for the tickets for Pro-Am, and we can post the tables to social media. Max Mulder could lead the way, but it could go any other way. The reason it's only up until week 10, not the final race this season, is so that going into the last 2 weeks, we know who's champion or championship contenders. BSP Racing lead by 23 points from Stage 2 Motorsport. Team FBR are 3rd place. Greasy Bandit a P4 from Richie Corsa in 5th. Team Merlot P6. FSO Junior Team P7. Greasy Bandit Junior Independent P8 from Vorta Racing Independent P9. McLaren lead from BMW. Porsche Lamborghini down to 4th with Aston Martin 5th. Ferrari, Ford, Honda and then Mercedes. Diesel takes a 2nd race win of his career. That though is BMW's 44th race win, and it is 4 race wins in Pro-Am. That is not right. For some reason, that's got it down to as an extra win. He's got 3 race wins this season. We'll get that one sorted, so it should be 43 race wins. Another podium for the McLaren takes it to 211. Ferrari makes it 82, and BMW puts that on 125. So great stuff at the moment for all these cars. It's been a great day, Dan.
Yeah, it has indeed, and just going back to driver of the day, I'm going to put some honourable mentions out. Cranky Duckhead, I'm definitely going to have to put as an honourable mention. He's been fantastic tonight. Also, B. Craig as well, very solid drive until the very end. SO Borough Bex, another solid drive from him, but it's definitely Dizzle and Max Mulder are the ones to watch this season, and I'm going to have to go the way of Dizzle tonight. He's just been phenomenal again, scoring points in the first race, and then taking the win here, the first double winner here tonight. Yourself, Matt?
Yeah, I'm going to give it to Dizzle, but honourable mention Robert Smith, Max Mulder, Cranky Ducker, Diego Flores, great drive for him. Yeah, there's a few guys I think have had an honourable mention, but I'm going to go Dizzle. I think he's been fantastic after not the best first race. He had a better second race.
Indeed, indeed. That is it for the Red Bull Ring. It will be the pros next time out. Myself and Matt should be on the grid tomorrow night, and it might be PN Motorsport and Fury, aka Joe Bates, bringing you all the action tomorrow. And for the Pro-Ams, they'll be getting themselves prepped and ready. They've enjoyed the wide circuit. We are now going to the British roller coaster, I think it's described, of Brands Hatch. And British circuits, what more could you ask for?
What more could you ask for? Don't forget, though, to hit that subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up as well as the bell to be notified when we are live. Pro will be back at 8 p.m. GMT +1 tomorrow night as we head back to Great Britain, down towards the Kent-Essex area for the British roller coaster of Brands Hatch. We'll see you next time. Good night.
Good night.